Christmas.
Merry Christmas, one and all. It's the greatest time of the year. How is everybody doing out there tonight? Welcome to another new episode of The Good, the Mad, the Ugly. Holy crap, I just realized my microphone is super low. Let me fix that. Stupid Windows controlling everything. But aside from that, yes, we are back. We are here with our last Good, the Mad, the Ugly before the Christmas holiday. I am happy to be here with you guys. This is my favorite time of year. Just the whole stretch from Halloween to December. I love the fun of Halloween, dressing up, getting drunk, pretending you're Spider-Man all night or whatever. It's so much fun. And then you have the sort of family togetherness and just the more hopeful spirit of the Christmas season. So I'm glad to be here with you guys. I'm sorry about the delay. So if you are in the Discord, if you are in the Kabuto Studios Discord, you'll know that I was working on what you just saw there, which was the Christmas outro intro. I used it twice because, hey, if I'm going to put effort into it and I'm only going to use it once a year, I might as well use it for more than 10 seconds, 30 seconds, however long it lasts. Here's the dumb part about it. I would have been here a lot sooner and we would have been fine. We would have been on time, 6 o'clock, maybe 6:10 as always, with the kind of normal delay. But when I was editing it, my editing software crashed and it killed all the audio. It killed everything I had. So I had to go record things. I had to go do all that. So that's why we're a little late tonight. But don't worry, guys. That's not going to cut into showtime. We're still going to have our good 2.5 hours of hanging out. So I am happy to be here with you. I hope you guys are happy to be here with me. As you know, the whole point of Good, the Mad, the Ugly is for all of us to hang out, kind of wash away, wipe off all the crap that we've been dealing with all week, from bad announcements to bad drama to all that stuff. And remember that there's good stuff out there. There are good comic books, there are good video games, there are good shows, movies. And if they're not, hey, we'll talk about it in a constructive way. And also, we're not above laughing at stuff here. So yeah, to that point, gosh, what did I even say we were going to talk about mainly tonight? Obviously, the thumbnail is Ultimate Spider-Man, the most recent issue. Maybe I'll briefly touch upon that, but that's going to be a foil variant topic for sure. We're definitely going to talk about, there is a new TVA series out of Marvel, and it is everything bad that you kind of can infer from that title. It's not good. I really need to talk about it because I feel like I'm going to crap my pants in nerd rage. So we'll talk about that. And then, yeah, of course, whatever else you guys want to talk about, as we know how the show goes, it's pretty free-flowing. Maybe I'll remember something later on. Maybe you'll remember something later on. Maybe something will just come up in the course of conversation. Luckily, with my ADHD brain, it's really easy for me to jump to different topics, so we will probably not be at a loss for anything to talk about. So I'm happy. I'm happy to be here with you guys. Let's get this show started. And to get that show started, as always, we will say hello to the chat as soon as I take a drink of water, because I am very, very, very parched over here in my little chair with my little hat and my little green screen. I think I've told you guys this before, but the way my green screen and desk setup is, when I'm streaming, it gets hyper hot, and this hat is not making it any better. And I just realized none of my fans are on. So give me 2 seconds to stand up and turn on a fan. Yes! Green screen down! It's not a map stream without a green screen down! Alright. Oh, and of course, I mean, it's the big news of the week. I don't even... Maybe I'll briefly touch upon this too, but it's probably a better foil variant topic. But of course, and we'll probably talk about it on Bounding this upcoming week. But that James Gunn Superman trailer, guys, It's the big news of the week, so we're going to have to probably talk about it at some point. But yes, aside from me pulling topics out of my brain, I don't know. I was going to say piecemeal, but that's not even the right word. Let's just get to the chat. Let's say hello to all of you guys. First off, we have Sakura Mita. What's up, Sakura? With the yellow heart as the emblem of faith, freshly harvested Precure Pine. Another Precure reference to kick off the show from Sakura. Always a pleasure to have my fellow weeb here. We got Andrew in the house. Andrew, we got to... So, if you guys, obviously, if you watch this show, you probably watch Foil Variant, and you guys might have noticed that we did not have a show this week, and that is because Andrew's a bastard. No, I'm kidding. Andrew got a very nice, lucky opportunity to go spend some time with his love, Mary Mayhem, and they got to spend time together, hang out, enjoy the holidays together. So we took a break, gave him some time to hang out with her, recover, breathe. It's the holiday season. We don't need to burn ourselves out reading comic books, right? So we'll have a lot to talk about next week. That's something we'll all have to talk to Andrew about. I know it's the end of the year. Maybe we'll do a top 5 covers, top 10 covers, top 5 best moments, top 5 worst moments. That might be something fun. And who knows? So because you're all here and we're talking about it, and I want to spitball it because I know a lot of you watch Foil Variant as well as this, I was thinking maybe we do like and Andrew, obviously you weigh in too, because maybe we do we like split it up. We go, hey, let's talk about the books, and then let's talk about our year-end review lists. I would only want to make that like an extended stream if there was some way for us to set up like super chatting or something like that, just to keep give me and Andrew a little incentive to spend like 5-6 hours on the day after Christmas hanging out with you guys. But aside from that, don't worry about that. I know this channel's not technically monetized yet. Neither is Foil Variant, but there are ways around it. I'm working on it. Don't worry. Things are going to look cool in 2025, but that's all Foil Variant planning. Oh, quick note, because unfortunately, I have not gotten around to it yet. No Sonic 3 talk on this stream tonight. I know it's unfortunate. I would love to talk about it with you guys. All I'm hearing from my friends is that it's fantastic. I just haven't gotten a chance to see it. It's been a busy week as always. We're in the end of the year sort of wrap up mode. So probably next week we'll have stuff we'll talk about Sonic here. But for now, this week, no spoilers. If I see a spoiler, I'm not gonna hate you, but I might tag you on Twitter every day for the next week with a new Tom King panel. So be careful if you want to spoil that. Live and learn, if you will, right? So, aside from that, Andrew, what's going on? We have Corey. What is going on, Corey? I hope you don't have overtime this weekend. If you do, I hope they're giving you like triple overtime since it's close to the holidays. But always happy to see you, my man. We've got Shinkai. Always, again, not a stream without Shinkai. We got to have Shinkai in the house. Zero is here. Seems to be the only person who realized, well, I know Shinkai reacted to it in the Discord. But yes, I was a little late because of that intro, outro. Next year, I'll have more time to assemble more clips, and maybe my software won't crash on me. But hey, for something I threw together in about 40 minutes, I'd say it looks pretty good. It looks pretty fun. So don't worry if you didn't see it. I'll play it again at the end, because like I said, I'm not just going to use all that effort for like 10 seconds. Let's see. We've also got Volume Dealer. Hey, I'm late and gay this week, but you are early and I don't know, what do you opposite that with? Early and burly. Even that sounds like it's like a synonym to gay. But either way, always happy to have you, Volume. I know you were late last week, so it's a damn good thing to have you here. See you from the start. Spend these next few hours with us. But let's see. We've also got Timon. Hey, Timon is here. Hey, shout out to Timon and Dozer, regular viewers of the channels, good friends of mine. They are, we haven't done this in a while, but for a couple months, I was doing a annual Brazil economy check on them because their economy is in the toilet, and their dollar, or like, what is it, the real, it fell again this week, and it's just, they're not in good times right now, and it makes me feel really bad to the point where, like, I want to illegally smuggle in things for them that don't, so we can get past like the import tax and we don't have to worry about like price. I don't know. It's ridiculous. We'll find a way. Don't worry, Timon. One of the first goals we have for this channel is to get your nephew a Goku. I have not forgotten to that goal. Again, we just got to keep growing, get to the point where we can actually where we can crowdfund the $400 it takes to ship something down to Latin America. So don't worry. I have not forgotten. And yes, Andrew, I know you said I was super quiet and you're not complaining. I know you're not complaining. That's why you skipped out on the damn show, you jerk. No, I'm kidding. Andrew also says, stop trying to make the... Oh, yeah, I forgot I can do this. I've been spending so much time this week on the new setup for this stream that I totally forgot what the old functionality is. But yes, Andrew, stop trying to make the TVA work. Marvel, it is rough, guys. Like, it is... We will get into it, but you'll see me get nerd like mad, which you guys don't normally do because I try to be better, but this book just made me super angry. Volume Dealer says Jared Leto as Skeletor. Is that something they've announced? Because I know, aren't they doing like a live action He-Man again or something like that? Sorry guys, just trying to fix that like fuzz effect that's going on back there. Oh, here, give me 1 second. I'm gonna clean my camera because I noticed there's a big thumbprint smudge on it, and that might be screwing with the focus. Didn't kill the fuzz, but hey, I look a little better, right? I look a little more clean. So, oh wow, okay. So Andrew and Volume Dealer, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, they just announced that. LOL. That doesn't inspire me with confidence because, okay, I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm always torn on Jared Leto. I think in certain times he does have talent, like in Dallas Buyers Club or like Battle of Angel Alita. He has roles he can play, and he's not necessarily a bad actor. He just sort of has an ego about him, and he's like too up his own ass. So I've always had a problem with him. More Mavlor. Obviously, I think I've mentioned this before, but when I was younger, obviously I was really into the like pop punk rock scene. Still am, but obviously now I'm old and I have to stand at if I go to a show I got to stand at the bar, otherwise my back's going to give out. But back in the day, 30 Seconds to Mars used to be sort of a new hotness in the scene because they were dropping, I don't want to say like alt rock bangers, but like The Attack, just some pretty good songs. And then out of nowhere, Jared Leto was like, oh, I'm going to go be an actor like all the time now. And that's fine, except he bailed out in that decision. He 30 Seconds to Mars still owed their label one more album, and he kind of just screwed over the rest of the band to go act. So if you go look, I forget what the album name is that they made after that, but in like a year, they had to rush together and throw together an album, which admittedly, not the worst thing I've ever heard. I mean, I unfortunately, like all of us, have that U2 album that they gave away for free a couple years ago if you were an Apple user. Not a couple years ago, like decades ago. But it was still just this sort of like, this doesn't feel like a 30 Seconds to Mars. This really feels like Jared just kind of came in and was like, I want to go back to acting. And of course, his big jump off point was Joker. So it all really depends with him. If he ever could like rein himself in and start being a little humble, because he's also got like, and I don't know enough about this particular line of discussion to talk about it. My good friend Trish over at Tooneytown TV, she might know more about this, but he's got like a cult like following, and I don't mean like people just like him. I mean like an actual genuine like cult type of thing going on around him. It's really weird. It's really creepy, and it just, I think you guys know me. I'm not a big fan of hyper egomaniacs unless you can really, really be like, okay, yeah, you deserve it. For example, before he went off the deep end, like Kanye West, right? The man's a certified jackass. The man is an egomaniac. The man has no sort of, social decorum. He's taking mics on live stages. He's insulting people. He's yelling at people all the time, saying, I'm the greatest, I'm a genius. But you know what? He's that kind of damn good that I really can't get mad at like that assertion. I go like, you're being a dick, but yeah, I can't push against that. Meanwhile, I look at Jared and I'm like, you were the Joker. let's settle down a little bit. But as for him as Skeletor specifically, I am not or how do I phrase this for the most impact? I was not an 80s sort of cartoon kid. Obviously, I think we've talked about this before, and if I haven't talked about it with you guys publicly, I've definitely talked about this with Andrew. And like I grew up, so I was born in 1990. I grew up in Southern California in the sort of cultural zone of early anime and early weebery, right? So like early Toonami, getting import tapes from family over in the Philippines, all that sort of stuff. So when I was growing up, I had this sort of weird, like, it wasn't like hate, but I want to say like opposition or just like a huge disinterest in anything from like the 80s or the 90s, particularly from America, because in my opinion, I saw such a drastic dip in difference in quality, right? Especially like, and again, it's not a fair comparison. I was a child, I get that. But if I see like an episode of Dragon Ball Z where they're firing energy beams and they're moving super fast and everything looks slick, and then I go watch an episode of He-Man and the animation basically boils down to this, it does not impress an 8-year-old. So I've never gotten really into Masters of the Universe. I've seen a lot of the stuff. I liked they did like a reboot in like the mid 2000s or something that was actually kind of interesting. Sort of like around the same time they did that good Thundercats one. But yeah, so I unfortunately am not going to have the strongest opinion on how he is for Skeletor. To me, he doesn't give the right vibe, just if I'm going off of like actor vibes as people, which again, not fair because actors, that's what they do, right? They change their roles, they adapt, but he doesn't give me the right amount of like Skeletor is a petty jerk. That's what he's not like a evil apocalyptic like, you know, dictator. I mean, he is, but he's also just sort of, you know, a dick. So you got to have somebody who gives that really good petty dick energy while also being very, very menacing and very out there. Like even Dolph, even though I like him when he was Skeletor, it sort of lacked the like the screw you, He-Man, right? Like for I know it's a sort of different medium, but I would almost give him that I would equate his personality, as far as my read of him, to that panel of Spider-Man and Sauron arguing, where Spider-Man's like, you can like rewrite DNA on the fly and you're using it to turn people into dinosaurs. Why don't you want to cure cancer? And he's like, because I don't want to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs. That's the kind of like screw you, spit in your coffee level that I want for my Skeletor, and I don't know if Leto gives that. Leto gives too much of a... It's because of what I'm talking about, right? Like, I feel like Leto can't laugh at himself, so if he can't laugh at himself, he can't play into a goofy, yes, we're laughing at this villain, but also the villain is terrifying kind of role, right? He would sort of... I feel like he might go in there and be like, no, Skeletor's got to be deep. He's got to be tortured or whatever. And I'm like, no, you need him petty. You need him as kind of like a little jerk. Let's see. Oh man, I kind of went on that little tangent there for a second. My bad. Sakura, is the chat mentioned working? Well, our chat is still working here. Let me rephrase everything I said because I know I sounded a little confusing. The chat is still working here. This whole setup that we've always had for the last 50-something episodes of Good Mad Ugly, this is all still working. When I was starting the stream, if you guys know, I have to launch my programs early because I use a third-party thing for the YouTube comments to highlight them. So that program, right before we went live, crashed. And because of that, I lost all of the pre-show comments from you guys. So I can't highlight everything up until about Zero says Christmas outro. All of those messages disappeared. That's what I was trying to say, but I still see them over here in the chat window thing box over here for all of you guys watching on TV. So that's all working. And then the other thing I was talking about was for the new Good Mad Ugly layout, which is going to be awesome. I can't wait for you guys to see it. I am using a new chat program that I'll probably start using for foil variant as well. But it's just one of those things where there are so many different programs and different processes I got to remember that sometimes I forget which one I'm engaging with. So that's all I was saying. We're still good here on chat. I can still see everybody. We're okay on that end. Oh, Corey says, oh, I'm getting overtime and I'm working 2 extra days next week when it's supposed to be shut down. We're behind on orders and Honda is pissed at us. But hey, I'm making bank. That's the attitude, my friend. That reminds me of like my favorite, one of my favorite limericks, which is boss make $1, I make a dime. That's why I shit on company time, right? Like, so you get it, my friend. If there's anything we can do to like, ease your burden, entertain you while you're out, let us know, because that sounds rough, but at least it sounds like you're buckling down. And hey, on the note of Honda, they're kind of in the shitter right now. They're like, they might merge with, what was it, Nissan, which is absolutely bonkers. So we'll have to see where that story develops on an economic note. But that's a big boy adult story. Nobody really cares about that here. Oh, and there's my boy. Yeah, tired tonight, so I won't be watching too long. Gonna read some comics and lurk and get to bed early tonight. Hey, good. I always want you. That's the most important thing here, guys. I love hanging out with each and every one of you. I wouldn't trade, our Friday nights for the world, but I always want you guys to take care of yourself. If you got, if you're not feeling great, if you're not around, don't scramble to be here. I'm never gonna look at it and go, what the fuck? Why isn't Sakura here? Why isn't Shinkai here? I might get mad at Andrew because I know where that guy is at all times, and I know when he lies to me. But aside from that, take care of yourselves first and foremost. I love all of you. I'd rather you guys be in good spirits when you come back for subsequent shows. And as always, you can, watch the VOD and you can chat about everything that goes on in the Discord, which, again, we have our secret link in the description below. If you are not a part of our Discord community, come on and hang out with us. That's where you'll find the foil variant chat. That's where you'll find a lot of us hanging out. Reeve and I are talking a lot about Marvel Rivals in the chat. Andrew and our friend Trace they're always there with some good discussion points. Sakura and Dante we've got a lot going on in there. So come on and hang out with us if that's up your alley. But more importantly, take it easy, rest easy. It's the holidays. You guys should all be a little selfish, right? Pardon me again. Hey, racist. That's the only defense I have. Let's see. Okay, here's the Jared Leto talk. Once you have the original voice, it's over. You can't outdo Starscream and Cobra Commander. Right. Like, I think those takes, I'm not against trying to do different takes on characters. Obviously, if you're hanging out here, I love the Ultimate Universe, the Absolute Universe, all that stuff. It's just, I think if you're going to be doing a big budget adaptation of a property that kind of, I don't feel like I'm qualified to speak on this, so other He-Man fans, or if there are any of us out there, because I know, I saw Andrew said he really wasn't, but I feel like, and this isn't even like a culture war thing to do with Kevin Smith stuff, right? Like, just purely on regular nerd culture, I feel like He-Man's kind of out. Like he hasn't really been a big prominent thing. He's more of an institution than like an active thing people go and enjoy, right? Like sort of like you go to your family Thanksgiving party and it's like, oh, I want to go hang out with my cool cousin Andrew or whatever, and then your mom's like, well, don't forget, like, you got to go say hi to your like really decrepit aunt who doesn't really actually know where they are. Well, why does she keep coming around? Well, she's family, right? Like, she was great for this. It's like, okay, fine. It's sort of like that. And so I feel like you kind of have to, this is an unfortunate reality, right? Because I am very much artist creativity first. But I think in terms of making a big budget movie that you are trying to sell as a product, I think it might be pertinent for I don't even know who's helming that movie, but whoever is, to take a recognizable yet, make it at its base recognizable while also adjusting a few things here and there. Basically the original like phase 1, early phase 2 Marvel strategy, right? All those characters, first Avenger Cap, Thor 1 Cap, Iron Man 1 Cap, most of those characters and those storylines are pretty accurate to the comics, of course, adjusting things like we talk about, where sometimes one medium's not going to work in another medium. but for the most part, we know them. There are some changes. There's a couple different swings. You know, Tony is now in the like Iraq era instead of the Vietnam era, or things like that. You can even look at the Guardians and say like, you know, like this still hurts me because the Star-Lord I loved the Star-Lord from the comics before the movie came out, and that Star-Lord's more of a gruff, like, how do I say this? He's more of like a tired, gruff soldier, right? Like oh my God, like, children, knock it off. Like, we need to finish this mission. And that's what I kind of liked about him. And then they turned him into the goofy, essentially Spider-Man stand-in with Chris Pratt. Big swing, but it worked. But then they also kept the rest of the team relatively close to who they're supposed to be. So it could... I'm not against it, but I do think that with this sort of, like, project and this ambition, you're going to have to really, really thread the needle there. Jared Leto is an unfortunate actor when trying to deal with shit thrown at him. I don't know exactly what you mean there, Sakura, but feel free to explain, and I will revisit it. Yeah, Leto is actually a quite good actor, but he gets miscast super frequently, and I've also heard he's just weird. Yeah, that's exactly sort of what I was getting at. He's just a weird dude. I don't know if he has the right vibe for like such a... They keep giving him roles, like they gave him Joker and they give him Skeletor, and these are very, very campy roles, right? You're supposed to ham it up. You're supposed to laugh at yourself. You're supposed to be big and colorful, and instead he takes them in the like... And, well, I don't know this for Skeletor, but like with Joker, he tends to play everybody like more reserved. He wants them to be like creepy, chilling, and it just doesn't always work for these characters. And so, good luck with the He-Man stuff. Hey, we've got Josh in the house. Yes, yo girl ain't no hobbit. I have not watched those episodes of South Park in so long. I have no idea why. I think that one I don't watch that much because it's at the end of the Black Friday like trilogy one, and I tend to skip that in replays because I'm like, we're on the PS5 now, man. This is outdated. I still have not seen Saint Seiya, but I have been reading it. You would know that if your ass didn't disappear on me for like 5 months. If you guys weren't here last week, Josh is back on the internet. He's if you quick recap lore. Josh is former editor over at Bounding Into Comics. He took a step away earlier this year, not because of anything wrong, just to focus on some other things, other projects. In that time, he because of some things, all of his social media got disappeared. I missed him. He came back. Now we're talking to him. There was nothing wrong. Nothing bad has happened. He didn't like have to run away. He had things going on. So I'm happy to see you. But if you were talking to me, you would know I've been making lots of progress through Saint Seiya, but I'm not talking to anybody about it because the guy I was talking to about it left me. Oh, is this what we're talking about? Okay, there's oh man. The anime is better than the manga. That's what you keep saying. I know, and it looks great in animation. But let's see. I see your message on Spencer's stream, but so that's another thing that happens. If a comment gets caught by YouTube because of the program I use, I don't see those over here, which is where my dock is. But I'll see them over here, right? So if I apologize, Sakura or Timon, I probably missed that message. Normally, I'm a lot better about keeping an eye on the chat over here while I'm talking, but because I was doing all of that like thinking and looking away, I didn't. But again, that will all look so much better with GMU 2.0. No. Screw you, buddy. All right. Let's see. Yeah, Nissan's in the shitter. Time to buy Honda bikes before they become shit. It's kind of time to buy everything right now before, trade wars happen, all that fun stuff. Again, not a political channel, not taking a stance, but whatever you think of what Trump's about to do, just the whole upheaval that we're about to see, regardless of your stance on it, it's going to cause some pain for a little while and some supply disruptions. So stock up on your tech, stock up on your meds, stock up on I don't know, your vials of not bird flu, fucking stock up on your vials of COVID-19. I'm sure there's a fire sale over at the wet market right now. So just be aware of that. And I still want a Honda bike, man. I still want the Kamen Rider Kabuto bike. Like, if I get a motorcycle, it's going to be a Kamen Rider one, and it's going to be one of the riders I like. So let's see. Everybody's talking here about, we're talking about Saint Seiya. Love it when you guys are all talking about that. I love when you guys just also have side chats in the chat. Like, I want us all to be friends. Let's hang out. Yep, Volume Dealer. I knew the Guardians from the 90s. I knew that one too. And but I also sort of recognized when they announced the movie, I was like, "Oh, they're not going to do that one. They're doing the more recent one," which made sense, right? I think even to this day, and maybe Andrew being another fellow comic book reader if he's still here, and maybe Corey as well, they can weigh in on this. I like the idea of the future Guardians, right? Like being led by Vance Astro in that super cool suit with the Captain America shield, and you've got Charlie 27 and Martin X and everything. I just think they're a hard sell to a casual audience, right? Like if we'd have come out in that first trailer and instead of Star-Lord, Gamora, Rocket, Groot, and Drax, we had Vance and Charlie and Martin X and what's her name? The chick who's like the Yondu species girl who I'm totally blanking on. It would have been harder to sell to audiences, and it's also their existence as like in that period really relies on a lot of like interconnected deep lore. I mean, Vance Astro it's Justice from the New Warrior. So you've got to talk about all that. You got to link that in. Oh, how did he get Captain America's shield? So I get why they weren't there. I did like that they were used as the actual Ravager team for Sylvester Stallone in, 3? That was cool. But yeah, like all in all, I only have really 3 main complaints with the Guardians movies. And those complaints are, 1, I'm really, really sad that we will never ever get a here, I'm going to pull up the costume so we can have visuals, folks. That is why we have this show. I am here, but I immediately didn't spend much time with Guardians of the Galaxy. It wasn't so much asking if you had spent a lot of time with them, but you've probably, if you've seen them pop up in like crossovers, I'm sure you get the same sentiment as me, where it's like these guys are they're just a little too out of left pocket and a little too disconnected and a little odd. They work on their own, they work in that setting, but when they start coming into present time and all that stuff, it gets choppy, if you will. Let's see, where is this specific book that I need? There it is. This will give it to me, right, guys? All right. It's also one of my favorite pages. If you watched Foil Variant on our last episode, we definitely talked about this page. But let's see. Let's go over there. Comic Talk time. Oh, what the heck? It's Calico. She didn't get... I didn't change... Okay, Calico's thing should be changed. Let's change that. That is not our stream buddy for tonight. That's last week's stream buddy. Guys, of course, this week's stream buddy is going to be Crypto. Are you kidding me? It's fucking Crypto. I'm so excited. We'll talk about the trailer in a little bit. Maybe we will talk about the trailer, but at the very least, if we don't get to it, just know that my ass is so happy to see Crypto. He's a good dog. And seeing that, I know a lot of people aren't happy with the opening shot on Superman being like wounded, and I get it, and I can agree, but I'm not gonna lie, guys. Like, just for me, seeing like when he whistles and Crypto starts barreling up, I'm just like, this is Superman. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But this was my biggest disappointment from the movies, or biggest disappointment number 1 is that we never got this suit proper. Right? So what they did, and I will never understand it to this day, is they gave Star-Lord his mask, right? Obviously, he had the mask in the first movie and most of them, but it had like the open hair. It wasn't this specifically. And then they gave him that stupid like red coat look that I kind of hate, but they keep trying to use. Then we got to 3 and we got the uniform. And I was like, when I saw those pre-release shots of Star-Lord in the uniform and all the rest of the Guardians, I was a nerd, stoked. I was like, yes, fucking finally. That's all I've wanted for the last like 16 years, however long it's been. And then he doesn't put on the damn helmet. And I was just like, you son of a fart. So, it's so close yet so far. But like, that's like my number one complaint with the Guardians movies. My second complaint is that, oh man, what even were my second complaints? Oh, I don't really like how they handled Drax's character going for, like, as it went on. He went from like stone straight man to just like moron, and I really 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 didn't like that. And then this one, I admit, is so like petty, and I hate that it bugs me like it does, but I have to be honest. It's in 3 when they gender swapped Cosmo, right? Like in the movie, Cosmo was a girl dog. In the comic books, Cosmo was a boy dog. Genuinely, that sort of change would normally, I would not give a shit about that. I know, like, it's whatever. It's a dog. And James Gunn even said, like, I'm doing this as a sort of tribute to Laika, the Russian dog. And I'm like, okay, fine. But it wasn't until I watched the movie where, like, I just realized that I had grown up, and I love that run of Guardians so much, the one from the mid 2000s. And in that run, Cosmo speaks like an old gruff Russian dude, sort of more akin to what the Red Guardian is in the MCU. And so, like, I loved him. I've loved Cosmo as a character for always. So when he came on and I heard the voice, I was like, fuck, it's fine. Like, it's not the one I know or think of. So that's my other big complaint. But aside from that, I'm pretty high on all of those ones. All right, let's see. What were we even talking about here? I guess. Timon says, Spencer, this is why Saint Seiya talk started. He-Man had cool toys, but the cartoon was kind of boring. When you watch Saint Seiya first, you can't be excited by He-Man. Okay, so that's sort of, Timon sort of is touching on what I was touching on, which is like just the different generational eras of like engaging with media, right? He and I and Josh, it sounds like, landed in that era of we got anime first before we looked at He-Man. So we went, what is this dumb noise? Like, okay, cool, a sword. This guy over here is like shooting energy blasts out of his hands and he's teleporting. Whoa. So you guys all get it. Let's see. Okay, yeah. It looks like we'll talk some Guardians, and then maybe we'll jump over to some James Gunn Superman. I think that's where we're going to go for the next little bit, because everybody wants to talk about... Yeah, so Reeve is here. First off, what is up, Reeve? My other Marvel Rivals homie. Again, come hang out with me and Reeve in the Discord. But, yeah, Drax was mishandled. I liked him at first, right? Like, in the first movie, he's great. I kind of don't really care about the second movie at all. It's not bad. It's just, I don't personally care. Nothing in that movie really stands out to me. I like the opening fight, right? Like, when we open mid-action to Groot, like, dancing around while the rest of the Guardians are fighting, I think that was, like, a perfect lead back in from the first movie, but then it all just sort of bleh is out from there. And then, yeah, Drax is really stupid in 3, but I do like him. There's that bit at the end where, like, he explains that he can speak their language and he's, like, a good father. And he's like, why don't you just talk to them? And I'm like, that's a good Drax trait. That would be a good one. Except even that development is, like, so stupid. It's like, Drax, why didn't you just say something? When you got on the ship, we didn't have to spend the last 40 minutes with Mantis and Gamora going like, we don't know what they're saying. You could have just said, you could have been like, oh yeah, I know this. Wouldn't have impacted the scene at all. There was no need for that, like, mystery reveal. And then, yeah, Josh is here. He went from Drax the Destroyer to Drax the Autist. Yeah, like, I think that is actually probably the best way to put it. He went, like, autistic, right? Like in the first movie, like nothing goes over my head. If it does, I would simply catch it. That's just him sort of taking everything literally. He's not stupid. It's just in his race, in his life, he takes things that he doesn't know sarcasm. But then, yeah, as we go on, he just starts completely misreading all social cues and being weird, and just you can kind of tell Gunn ran out of things to do with him in that last movie. And then, yeah, Volume Dealer brings up the biggest issue that I also have. Drax's mission with Thanos, and he never actually gets his hands on him in Endgame. I know. It always bothers me. They don't even talk about it. It's just, like, he's on the final battlefield, but he just takes on a bunch of Chitauri. He doesn't actually take on Thanos. So, no, I'm totally right there. Let's see. Josh says the second movie has a pretty heartfelt moment when Drax talks about his family, and then Gunn just forgot about that storyline. Well, like, he brings that bit back at the end. Again, like, the whole he's a good father bit is a good bit. It's just he's very inconsistent with how he wants to apply it, because sometimes, Drax is a good father and just a literal dude. Other times he's kind of like a giant dumb child, and it just they need to be consistent with it. And I mean, we don't know where they're going to go with it now that Gunn's gone, but we'll see. The moment Drax the Destroyer died, when he started talking about his nipples in Guardians 2, a recurring joke in the movie too. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest issues with James Gunn, even to this day. I generally like him, and I generally like his approach to stuff, but he tends to lean into, it's not just like toilet humor, it's like hyper immature toilet humor, like, and not like fun immature toilet humor. For example, fun immature toilet humor. There's an episode of South Park where Cartman is completely obsessed with putting his finger in his butt and smearing the poop here on Butters' nose. So Butters, has a Hitler stash, and he wakes up smelling poop all the time. All the kids laugh at it, and they're like, that's really dumb. That's not even anything. But Cartman keeps cracking up at it, and it's like, that's a very immature joke that you can A, laugh at, but then also B, laugh at the fact that Cartman thinks it's the funniest thing in the world, and really, it might be worth like a chuckle. That's James Gunn. There's the scene in The Suicide Squad where, Idris Elba tells, what's his name, John Cena, Peacemaker, to, eat a dick. And John Cena goes into that thing of like, oh, I would eat a field of dicks. I would eat every dick if it meant that we would have freedom. And it's like, I know the joke you're trying to go for here. Like, I know what the end result you want is, but this is just not funny. Like, this is just not, it's like your friend who, we're all gonna have this friend, and I'm gonna use a more contemporary example because the entire situation makes me laugh. We're all gonna know someone or see someone who's going to discover Hawk Tuah in like 5 months. And that's going to be like what James Gunn's writing is, right? Like, isn't Hawk Tuah so funny? And we'd be like, okay, when you said it the first time because you just learned about it, that was funny. Now you like have overdone this. We were all already past it. Please, for the love of God, make an actual joke about it. So I just need him to lean away from that stuff, and we're normally all good. Let's see. All right. Let me grab one more thing of water. And sure, let's jump over here. Let me pull it up. Why don't we take a look at that Superman trailer, or at least offer our quick thoughts on that trailer, because everybody's talking about it. We're talking about James Gunn. That just makes sense. All right, let's hop over to that window. Please tell me I picked the right one. Cool. All right, so as you all have probably seen by now, earlier this week we got our first look at, the first trailer, first look, first everything at, oh my goodness, why am I burping so much? Hold on. Oh, and Josh, just one more thing I forgot to bring up when we were talking Guardians too. The Pac-Man thing. I still hate the Pac-Man thing. It's still like, I don't get it. You didn't need to do it. It's so lame. It's so, how do you do, fellow kids? And when they started putting that in the advertising, I was like, oh, this movie is not for me. Right, exactly, Josh. James Gunn is the guy who would randomly say "dicks out for Harambe" when peeing in a public toilet in 2024. Exactly. And oh man, like that's so perfect. But um I love David Hasselhoff, and I thought that that came off as stupid. Pac-Man and Hasselhoff, all of that stuff, all of that referential stuff in number two, that felt really, really desperate to me because no other movie has really done the like Stranger Things. Do you remember the '80s as hard as that movie? And I don't think it really added anything. It was just bad. It was just bad. Oh, cameo. I mean, cameo. It came off stupid. What? I got the point of what you were making. But so, yes, as we all know, James Gunn's Superman trailer. We'll probably mute it so that I don't get yelled at by YouTube. Even though the fact that I've already used whatchamacallit, the Common Writer clips means that I'm probably already dinged. But let's see. So, all right, let's see. We don't need to do a full blow-by-blow because I'm sure everybody here has watched somebody do a blow-by-blow. We've all done our own blow-by-blows. If you want to see me do a blow-by-blow or talk a blow-by-blow, check out next week's 01 stream over on Bounding Into Comics. Or if Andrew and I decide it comes across our minds next week, over on Foil Variant. Let's see. Yes, let's start with this shot here of Superman having crashed into the Earth, very, very Yamcha style. And yes, nitpick time. The speed in which he crashed into the snow should have left a bigger hole. I agree. It very much feels more like a cinematic fall. But to be fair, we don't know what trajectory, what force. But I understand the complaint, like 100%. So a lot of people, just to start this off, a lot of people are not happy with this trailer shot opening on a wounded Man of Steel, a Man of Steel who's down on sort of, he's on the losing end of a fight. And I get it, because we want our heroes to be our heroes. We want them to be the things we look up to, the fantastical. And we all, most of us out here, we've been burned, right, by recent history. So we don't want to see more deconstructions of our heroes. We don't want to see more, look, Superman's down again. Like, this is, right? We don't want to denigrate these things we love. We want to elevate them. So I get a lot of that sentiment, but I also don't think Superman being hurt and being down is bad or works against that. To me, this helps sell the aura, the myth, or the aura, the myth of Superman, right? Is that he is still vulnerable. He's not impossible to take down. And yet, despite that vulnerability, he still goes out there. He still goes up against Lex. He still goes up against Darkseid, Mongol. I mean, yeah, now I'm conflating comic stuff, but you guys know what I mean, right? So, to me, I'm not against it. I might have opened on shots of him flying or something just to really get it up, but then I feel like that might have undercut. I don't know. I don't have the full footage, so I don't know what I would have thrown in there. Maybe I'll do a Good Mav Ugly recut in 2 years when it's on Blu-ray, and I totally have already forgotten this movie came out. But let's see. Blow, that's gay. Where do you think you are, Reeve? Where do you think you are? Andrew says, I genuinely like the trailer. Yeah, before we dig into it, I will admit that as well. I really liked the trailer. It admittedly made me hopeful just in general and for the movie. There are lots of things I liked about it, and there are lots of things that I admittedly am probably reading into, but given all the sort of era we're in and what people are, like what Gunn is saying, I'm very positive towards this movie right now. With that being said, I will admit, before I forget, as we keep going on, guys. So, if this was the very, very, very first thing we ever saw out of James Gunn's DC Studios, was this trailer, and I know, like, I see, like Corey thought it was okay. Yeah, like Timon isn't a big fan of Crypto, but So like, if this was the first thing we saw, I think I would be way more optimistic. I'd be like, holy crap, Gunn, you really, for lack of a better term, understood the assignment. I am stoked to be in here with for this ride. My problem is, we already have seen our first look at DC Studios, and it was that Creature Commandos show. And that show is, for lack of a better term, it's Reddit tier. It literally, it opens, first episode, the very first look we ever see of DC Studios is a bunch of incel terrorists who hate the woke and hate feminists trying to invade Themyscira because they're like, oh, why do girls get to have something we don't? And it's like, if that's the tone you started out with, I don't necessarily know how excited it makes me for the rest of all of this, right? If Creature Commandos came second, you were like, it's just a different tone sort of thing, but it's still here. I'd have been like, okay, fine. But you're putting your first footing, your best foot forward, your first public outing is that Creature Commandos crap doesn't inspire confidence. So that's my biggest hesitation with Gunn. I get the feeling, I do genuinely get the sentiment listening to him talk and listening to him listening to him talk and then seeing sort of the trailer and all that. I do get the feeling that he understands the reverence for Superman. I genuinely don't think we're going to get Superman or Lex making, dick jokes. I don't think that, but I would not, if I were a betting man, I would not put money on it because of what we saw out of Creature Commandos. Josh asks, Creature Commandos is out already. We're 4 or 5 episodes into that show. I'll admit, it is very pretty. The animation is really good. Kudos to Warner Brothers for that. Writing is not really that great. Although I also like the voice acting. Hearing Frank Grillo do a voice really, really works. It's a good niche for him. Who wrote what shit? Which shit are we asking about? I don't know which one. What did I show off? I don't even remember anymore. And then, yeah, Gunn has to shoe his friends in everything that actually get the right actor. I don't know who of his friends are in here. Oh, Nathan Fillion. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now I see what you're saying, the Long Dealer. I had to connect that. Yeah, I was excited for it, but I thought that was a 2025 release. Nope, we are getting it right now. So, yes, this is, like I said at the beginning of the show, the fact that we got Crypto here on screen.
Crypto.
Right? Good boy. And I love the fact that, Soups is wounded, but Crypto clearly is still a dog, and he's like, oh, is it playtime? Because I don't know if you guys, for all my dog people out there, all my dog lovers, that's what happens, right? I've been out with my dog running before, and for whatever reason, she crossed in front of me, and the leash has gone around my what do you call it? My ankles, and I've AT fallen on the ground and eating shit, scraped up my arm. And while I'm sitting there motherfucker, she's just like, oh, you fell, you came down to my level. That means we're gonna play, right? Let's go. And I'm like, just sit for a second. Ow. Yeah, Andrew, he actually looks a lot like your dog. So I also, Volume Dealer and I were talking about this on Twitter. I'm not entirely sure what Crypto is in terms of is he full CGI? Is there a dog there? Did they mocap a dog? Is it possibly a puppet? Because he looks really, really, really good. I think even Timon, I know Timon doesn't like him, and we'll talk about that in a second, but I think nobody can disagree with how good Crypto looks. So accurate, so lively, sort of real, if you will. They did a really good job here with Crypto. And so, let's see. I will bring up. Let's see. Where was that quote? I think. Okay. I always forget because it was already green because I clicked it. Whatever. So to Timon's point, let's talk about this. I'll say it again. Crypto was a bad call for me. He is from the stupid, childish comic book era. So I know what you're saying. He definitely is from that era where comic books were mainly marketed towards kids and they were kind of slapdash throwing everything in there. It was the golden age. However, I think Crypto, you know, giving Clark a dog, giving Kal-El a dog, and a Kryptonian dog at that, really helps sell his character as like the gentle hero. It gives him, you know, another a companion. You know, it's almost heartbreaking in a way where like he has another Kryptonian, but it's not somebody he can communicate to, talk to. But more so than all of that, for the reasons I like Crypto as a character, I think his inclusion in this movie is good because it signals to me that we have moved out of the era where people will, or we're at least we have people trying to move us out of the era where of essentially the black leather X-Men, right? Where we look at comic book stuff and go, that's comic booky, that's stupid. Like this is not your complaint, Timon. I understand that. You have a different valid one. But people who will go like, he's a dog with superpowers, that's so stupid. Only kids would like that. That's sort of, you know, one of the biggest problems, at least I always complain about in our current Western culture, because these are the things we love. There's a lot of things you can do with this stuff. And these are still the things we've invested in over the years. We as readers go, yes, we understand a dog with superpowers is a little goofy. But we can let that slide because we can suspend our disbelief. We're not sitting here going, oh, God, is that guy over there judging me for reading a comic book with a flying dog? So, and I mean, this mentality is so prevalent. I think we'll probably get into it. I totally blanked on it until right now. But there's a new article out of Bloomberg about Crunchyroll and Funimation and the whole Western anime game. And literally you have people in there, in Funimation, like the people who run Funimation, on quote, like quoted in the article, do not think, like they think anime is for children. They do not think it is a serious medium. So anything that we can do to sort of fight back against this and still use everything in a fun, respectful way, right? Like if Zack Snyder was like, I'm going to put Crypto in my movie, he would have been like a bulldog or a pit bull who was a former fighting pit bull or something like that, right? And it would have been like, why did you go so edgy with it? And I think, again, Superman is supposed to be somewhat of a more whimsical hero compared to, say, a Batman. So while Batman has the cave and the gadgets and everything is down to earth, Superman fights giant monsters and he fights giant robots and he has a dog that flies. So I think that the contrast works there. Again, if you don't like the character, that's totally fine. Everybody has their opinions. I'm not going to fight you against it. And Timon, I completely understand and get, even though I'm not in agreement with you, or I don't share the opinion rather, I totally understand where you're coming from. But sort of, summarizing my thoughts a little better is this comment here from Shinkai. Crypto is cool, gives me hope we might actually get a proper Robin instead of adult Robin. Not Robin and F Batman Robin. And F Batman Robin. Oh, you mean like Dick Grayson becoming Batman? Yeah. Okay, never mind. But that's sort of what I mean, right? Is seeing Crypto here being used genuinely gives me hope that we're going to start seeing more of the fantastical, accurate things from comic books being adapted. And I think that'll be better for all of us. We'll all finally get to see characters we love represented relatively accurately on screen. Again, changes will have to be made between mediums and stuff. But for the most part, I would love to go to an era where, I don't know, we don't have people, like, I'm so done with the detached irony jokes of like, haha, isn't this so funny? Like, isn't this so weird? So I'm glad Crypto's here. I've always liked Crypto as a character, and it gives me hope that this movie will not, and I never had this fear because it's James Gunn, honestly, but it makes me optimistic that, it just further confirms the feeling that this movie will not be grimdark, which I think we really need that, right? Not just in terms of Superman or DC or Zack Snyder or any of that stuff, but just superhero media, superhero movies in general. And I think we'll get into it, but I also think that that's going to play sort of a part in the movie's story. Gun humor. Surprise Gun didn't have Crypto like hump Superman for dragging him through the snow, right? Like that would be something you would expect, but he didn't do it. So having a little hope here. Volume Dealer says, I wish this was more like All-Star Superman, whereas a more sci-fi, fantastical fantasy take. I can agree with that to a certain extent, because I really do like how wacky, or wacky in a good way, right? Like, fantastical is better. I just didn't want to repeat what Volume Dealer said, because then I look like a jackass. But the fantastical edge to Superman really, really works, and that, like, we all love that story. It's always cited as, like, this is a Superman story. I think, like, I would want to see it too, but here's what I think the key is, Volume Dealer. I think, at least in terms of movies and audiences and stuff like that, this is the right move. Do, like, a Superman and establish him in this world. And James Gunn himself says, like, this is not, like, a grounded world. It's still, like, a world with fantastical elements. Like, it's fine. Like, and they're not out of the ordinary. It's not like the MCU. So I think you establish this one, you know, you bring him back from retirement or whatever the plot is, you show him as the heroic paragon. Then, once people are on board, you know, they've gone through the movie with the talking Kryptonian dog. Now we can go into, here are 4 different versions of Superman from across time, and here's Lex Luthor injecting him with, like, a metaphysical mind serum that turns him into a Kryptonian, and here's Superman going into the sun to, you know, keep it burning for the rest of eternity. I think we can build up to that, but I definitely want to see it, Volume Dealer. I'm right there with you. That was CG. Like, that shot when he, like, grabs the cape, that's definitely CG. But then, like, like that right there, I'm not entirely sure. Like, the close-ups. So, honestly, like, it probably is CG. But I think I think I can speak for both I can speak for myself, but I also think I can speak for Volume Dealer, and that I think we both kind of want it to be a puppet, because I think that would be cool, and that would show a little bit of dedication, and it would work. Like, it would really work in live action. So, dude, Clark getting a dog in Superman and Lois. I'm not crying. You're crying. Side note, I haven't talked about it on the show because I don't want to spoil everybody, and I know I still owe a couple guys in Andrew's Discord server like a mini review, but Superman and Lois might just honestly be the best superhero media we have literally ever gotten. Like, that show is so good, so respectful to the lore. Josh knows what I'm talking about, but there was a moment in the season finale, it's what we talked about last night, where it's just like, this is Clark Kent. Like, this is our hero. And if you haven't checked it out yet, please do. 4 seasons, all wrapped up. Do not have to watch any of the old CW stuff. Like, you genuinely do not. At best, if you really, really wanted to, you could watch the, like, 7-part Crisis and Infinite Earths crossover, which I like. But it's also, like, it's not necessary. You can just jump in straight season 1, episode 1, Superman and Lois, go. And it's fantastic. See, Timon, that argument doesn't work for me. Kryptonian dog, it says enough. Because, I mean, Kryptonians are basically just space aliens, right? Or they're, like, Clark's just a Kryptonian human. So, you know, like, to me, I believe in, you know, like, we're such a big universe. There's got to be other life forms out there. There's got to be other things out there. So I can imagine other planets evolve dogs, other planets evolve cats, however you want to do it. Like, realistically, if it happened, it would be more like a jelly dog or something weird like that. But again, it's comic books. We don't need to go full scientific, I was going to say full Scientific American on them. But for those of you who aren't American, I don't want to use that reference because that used to be a very leading science like research journal magazine here in the US. And then in recent years, since like 2016, it went off the deep end into what do you want to call it? Like science activism, buying into that whole, oh yeah, COVID's deadly, but you can go out and protest for racial rights and COVID, you know, won't jump because it's also got a sign on or whatever. So I don't even know where I was going with that, but very much so, yes. Yeah. Special adult Robin as in Batman and Robin, not Robin as in Dark Knight Police Robin, and F Batman as in Titans live action Robin. Yeah, no, I followed. It just took me a second to read it, but yeah, and like what really bums me about Titans is that I think I talked about this maybe last week. Honestly, the Titans cast, they all look great. Those suits look fantastic. They look like the characters. The writing is just so ass. And of course, like I did last time, asterisk, that what I just said does not apply to Starfire because, yes, aside from the race swap, the actress just did not play that Starfire well. And they also just screwed that character up wholesale 100% on that show, which is such a bummer. Oh, that's why we were talking about it, because I was telling Volume Dealer, like, Hawk from Hawk and Dove are in that show, and Hawk's played by freaking Jack Reacher, right? Big dude. We all know who I'm talking about. Whatever. Somebody's gonna say it in the chat. I know they will, and you guys will get me. But I like that guy. Man, I'm at the end of my water. I'm gonna have to open up my soda. Yeah, Edgelord Bro Snyder wouldn't have made Crypto a pit. He'd have killed him in front of everyone and had Clark do nothing as it happens. No. Got one. Well, first of all, as we were saying, Shinkai, nothing goes over my head. Absolutely nothing goes over my head. I will simply catch it. But, oh, man, and before I get back to you, Andrew, Corey's out of here. Later, Matt, have a good rest of the stream. Hey, you go get some sleep, mi amigo. That's the most important part. I'm sure I will talk to you at some point throughout the weekend, if not for community nights, which are back on now that Andrew's home. So, please, go rest. I will talk to you very much, and thank you for hanging out with us, amigo. Did I say amigo twice? Is that racist because it's to Corey? So yeah, Andrew here with his Edgelord Snyder comment. I got you one better. This is what Snyder would have had Crypto do. Crypto would have been a Kryptonian dog that they found with Clark in the field, and it would have been a dog. And he would have really played up the aspect that Crypto is very protective of Clark, right? Like, this is my owner, stay away from him. So at some point when Clark is either a young man or an adolescent, like 10, 11, 12, or like a teenager, so like 16, 17, 18, they'd have Crypto attack somebody because that person was going to, discover Clark's identity or do something, whatever. And then it would be a scene of like Pa Kent telling Clark that he has to put Crypto down and that he'd probably have to do it by hand, I Am Legend style, because it's a Kryptonian thing. That's what he would have done for no payoff other than you have to kill things sometimes, right? Like there's no thematic payoff to that. So that's more of what I see coming out of Snyder Crypto. But hey, man, if they sell it to Netflix, if they sell the Snyderverse to Netflix, it could happen. The dumbest thing I've ever heard. See, I knew you would get it, and I'm right. Yep, exactly. Like, fuck that, and fuck you for saying it. Hey, I'm a trusted, respected comic books journalist. My ideas are going straight to the top. You know that's what we're going to get. We're going to get a Black Label Superman series, and that's how it's going to open. Let's see. Volume Dealer says, I remember back in the day, I lost probably total interest in Lois and Clark because he never took on supervillains. It was always a bunch of normies. That's the Dean Cain one, right? So I agree, but this series, Superman and Lois, does not do that. He actually takes on like named villains. I think probably the thing that made me go like, the most from that was that, of course, as with all Superman stories, he had to have an arc where he fought like an evil Kryptonian, which, fine, I get it. Like, normies haven't seen this 400 times, but like, I know Josh and Andrew and Volume, the rest of us, we've all seen that plot, right? We've seen evil Kryptonians are back, whether it was Superman 2, whether it was Vegeta fighting Goku, whether it was the current comics that we're in right now. It's been done before, but it's not necessarily bad. It's not like, again, another foil variant reference. If you know it, if you've watched it, me and Andrew complain about how Marvel keeps going back to the well of like, oh, aren't mutants so oppressed? Isn't it so hard to be a mutant? And like, we've been there and it's annoying. This is like, we've been there, but I get it, right? Like, you got to play the hits. If I go to a Blink 182 show and they play All the Small Things, I don't necessarily like that song, but I'm not going to crap my pants because they play it because, duh, it's a hit. So, yeah. But aside from that, named villains, they really care on this show. It is so baffling. It feels. I would genuinely want to talk to the producers and the directors and be like, so when did you guys start reading Superman comics? What did you think about Final Crisis when Superman went and made the Miracle Machine? Because I feel like they would know all that stuff. Like, that's how dedicated and good they are to the characters. Also, weird side note that I just realized, Jordan Kent's they haven't retroactively put him into the comics yet. I'm very surprised by that. They have John, but then Superman recently got 2 like orphan Kryptonian kids that he adopted from Warworld. Long story, pretty decently fun arc, but they're not like Jordan at all. Like, they don't even use the name Jordan. So I'm like, oh wow, this is like the one time a studio has decided we're not going to focus everything on synergy. And I'm like, let's do that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's kind of where I am too, Andrew. If we're not mad about Kryptonians and other species looking exactly like Earth humans, then Kryptonian dog is not a valid argument in any multiverse. Right, like that's what I mean. Like, to me, Krypton is just another analog for Earth, just like Ran, just like Daxamite, just like, where the fuck is... Mon-El is a Daxamite. That's what I'm thinking, yeah. Do you guys remember... What the hell was... I'm blanking on his name now, but there was that Daxamite who was in the Green Lantern Corps that was like... I think he became Ion after Kyle, and he was super strong. And then it was like, after New 52, he's just gone. And I really liked him. And I was like, just bring him back, you jerks. Like, why do you do that? Woof! I didn't know that, Sakura. The Titan showrunner almost worked on Power Rangers before it was thankfully canceled. Ouch. That would have been bad. I didn't know that. I know... Wait a minute. Titan showrunner. Okay. So, you're talking about the showrunner. What? And yes, I know who you're talking about. You're probably talking about... was it Akiva Goldsman or Greg Walker? One of those two. I think Akiva, he's the producer. But the reason I paused there and had to do a quick look is I know that the like reboot they were trying to do for Power Rangers was going to be like super young adult Netflix oriented, and that sounds like it would have perfectly lined up with like what Titans was trying for. And all that to say, once like Cider and I, so if you guys, if you don't already, go check out boundingintocomics.com for all your latest, greatest news from people who know what they're talking about, will not lie to you, and will not call for censorship. But Cider, my good co-host, second in command over there. That's right, Josh. Until you come back to me, new second in command. But yeah, like we've been talking about this forever. Ever since we got the announcement that they were going to do a YA Power Rangers, we just knew that it was going to be, like, there's no world where a YA Power Rangers in America is anything but really, really bad CW Riverdale level drama, right? Which we're not necessarily opposed to more drama in our Power Rangers, but that's not what it should all be. I mean, just look at Super Sentai, right? You have a lot of drama, but you also have moments of like genuine heartfeltness and genuine hope. And the writers, they might lose, but they still keep their spirits. So yes, thank goodness that did not happen. And Volume Dealer, I think that's a good one. Volume Dealer, I think that's the best way to put it. The idea of Crypto is hokey, but this feels fun and something we haven't seen in the movies. Yeah, like I can agree that Crypto is sort of hokey, but I think, like I was saying, it all relates back to the fact that it's just at least showing we're not ashamed of this anymore, and good. If this was any other super pet choice than Crypto, like if this was fucking Streaky the super cat, or Comet the super horse, or Beppo the fucking super monkey, and guess what, guys? I got all 3 of those right. You go look that up. I have nothing going on in my life. I memorized Superman's pets. And technically one of Supergirl's. But if we'd have seen any of them, I would have almost felt like we were being mocked, and I would be closer to what our boy Timon is saying, like just not happening, like not about it. But I think the dog is a good in between. It's serious enough that it's not, you know, a fucking talking monkey, but it's also not super serious to the point where, you know, Clark's going to snap Zod's neck in 5 seconds. Oh, did you really, Volume Dealer? I said that about Lois and Clark before you brought up the new show. Look at that, guys. We're all the good, the mad, the ugly. We are amassing. We are becoming one. We are becoming a hive mind. It's like Akira. Josh says, as a kid, I loved Lois and Clark because of Superman. As an adult, I'm loving the show because of the Daily Planet scenes, especially Perry White. Yeah, I was laughing at Volume Dealer bringing that up in my head because I also know you've been rewatching it, Josh. So I'm like, hey, look, everybody's getting in on that. I still can't get over how awful the Dean Cain, like, Krypton suit is, where it's like the black Superman suit with the blue highlights. It's not a bad idea. It just, they didn't get it right. Here, let me, and I'm getting that right, Josh. Correct? Like, that's his like, Kryptonian outfit. Yeah, there we go. Dean himself, or no, he didn't, but a fan site did. So let's just look at that real quick so you guys know what I'm talking about. EXO. Not Twitter. So, like, it's not bad. I can see the vision. The Kryptonian wedding outfit. It's not bad. I see the vision. It just, they didn't. I think the S being fabric as well as the bracers kind of kills it. It doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work. Nothing against Dean. Dean's a great Superman. It's a great storyline. This outfit just kind of sucks. Let's see. Volume Dealer says he saw the Doomsday fight clip a few weeks ago. It is insane how much better the fight on CW between Doomsday and Clark is compared to not Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman. It is bonkers, right? Like, Batman v Superman, we got weird nematode, like, blob. And then in Superman and Lois, we got actual, I'm adapting to every moment Doomsday. It was awesome. And then, that has a lot to do with it. Lois and Clark had a paltry budget and couldn't afford to do a lot. But I will also slightly push back on that, because while you're correct, this was also in an era where how do I put this? We were trying to sell comic books to normies, and, you know, superhero, leaning into the true superhero fantastical elements of it wasn't really seen as a sort of winner, right? Like, if we go back and we look at the old Wonder Woman show, even there she spent most of her time fighting crime. Even with Batman, in 66, he had colorful like villains, but they were all sort of crime. Sort of what I was saying earlier is, when it comes to Batman and Superman, you know, Batman is more grounded because he has, you know, he's just a guy, he has tech for his stuff, and his villains are, you know, their schemes are more on the ground. Run a casino, kidnap people, commit, you know, terrorism against the GCPD, stuff like that, right? And so, but Superman, he fights Parasite, he fights Mr. Mxyzptlk, he fights giant monsters and giant robots, like every 30 minutes something like that happens. So I think back in this era, A, obviously the budget prevented a lot of it, but B, I also think they didn't truly have the confidence in swinging to do things like Parasite or Doomsday. I mean, Doomsday wasn't around yet, but you guys are, wait, was he around? That's a good question. Adventures of Lois and Clark. Here, let's look at it together. 1993. I think Superman's 96, right? No, not the movie. I want the... Oh! 1993! So wait, did this start right when that show, or right when he died? September 1993. Blasted until October 1993. So this thing came... Wow! Lois and Clark came right off the heels of Superman being dead. I wonder what it was like being in... What's the fan response around that? You know what I mean? Like, I kind of feel like if Andrew and I were there, we would have been like, yo, you just killed him off and now you're like, what is this crap? So genuinely interesting. Had no idea. Oh, sorry. I know I keep hitting the mic. Don't worry. Upgrade's coming. Let's see. Reeve says, so there's always the comparisons of Goku and Clark. However, which of their origin stories do you like more since both are so similar? I tend to... Okay. This is sort of a hair split, right? Because I like the idea more of Bardock and Jean sending Goku away to save him from like a life of being Frieza's soldier and, you know, enslavement. What I don't like is the change that they introduced in the special where Bardock sees Goku beating Frieza, right? Because to me, I've mentioned this before, but unless you do it excellently, I am not a big fan of like Chosen One stories. I really much prefer, you know, the Spider-Man type of story where it's wrong or right place depending on your outlook, right or wrong time. Make the most of what you have there, and that leads you to greater heights, to fighting the villain, to saving the world, and sort of stuff like that. Like, I like that idea because it more sells the idea that I'm going to get a little meta social here for like just a second. I'm going to put on I'm going to take this off. I'm going to put on my pretentious hat. Do I have one? Those are legitimately all baseball hats. I don't think I have. None of my hats are douchey enough right now for me to say it's my pretentious hat. So, oh no. This is a pretentious hat. Okay. So, this is at a recent Bulls game. This was a giveaway hat, and as you guys know, Chicago sports. That's what I rock for. But this is part of their artist series, so this is like the Bulls logo, but it's done all like special because it was like an artist collaboration. So this is the most pretentious thing I can put on right now. We'll put on the pretentious hat and then we'll get back to the Christmas hat in a second. But in at least like American society, we have unfortunately gone down this really long like road of hero worship, putting people on pedestals, and sort of, you know, highlighting like, oh, you are the special one. You can really only succeed if you're the special one, right? And that has to do with things like nepotism and just the insular nature of politics and stuff. So I genuinely feel there is an air in American society right now of, you know, I can't pull myself up by the bootstraps anymore. I mean, look at our economy, look at our job market. We are in a really rough spot. And right now, the rich are getting richer, and the middle class is non-existent, and the poor are getting poorer. So that idea of I can be a hero no matter what my circumstances, and I believe in the innate goodness of humans, and I'm going to protect that. That's what I get behind more than the idea of like, hey, I was born yesterday. Fuck all of you. I'm a jerk. Oh, now I'm supposed to be the hero? Well, let's go do that, right? Like, yeah, I don't like that bit of Bardock seeing Goku like fully kill Frieza. If it had been like a quick flash of things where Bardock didn't see it, but he sort of got this feeling that everything was going to be okay, I think I would have been more okay with that. But because without that, I think I have to give it to You know what? Even though it sounded like I was ramping up to give it to Superman, I think I might give it to Goku because of the one added. So yes, I don't like that Bardock bit, but to be fair, that's technically non-canon. I mean, they've canonized it since, and they did it better, but that movie moment is not canon. I do like the idea that, you know, Goku is launched out into space. He still has his Saiyan programming, and then when he gets there, he bumps his head and forgets what he's supposed to do, and is just a regular guy. I think that's a hilarious, like slapstick style believable development. I really like it. And then I think that makes things like the Saiyan saga work later on, where Goku legitimately has no idea what the fuck you guys are talking about, right? So good question, Reeve. I think I will give it to Goku, but yeah, I'll probably give it to Goku in this one. Yeah, I'll give it to Goku. I'll give it to Goku. Josh says, remember the Muslim Green Lantern? It's like he disappeared. These days he's doing car constructs. Okay, I'm not reading that last part because I'm going to get in trouble with what little YouTube I have. Fucking hilarious reference, though. You know what? Wait, what am I talking about? I'm not monetized yet. So, yes. Remember the Muslim Green Lantern? It's like he disappeared. These days he's doing car constructs and driving them through Christmas markets in Germany. Definitely check out the news today if you guys haven't. Funny enough, Josh, to that point, where did it happen? Because I had noticed that, so as Andrew can attest, I recently went back and read not the run that's currently happening, but it is the run that's currently happening, and then the run before it of Green Lantern. Like, I've been spending the last, like, month or two getting caught up on all my Green Lantern lore. And I noticed that as well, Josh, that he's not really anywhere anymore. And then I know it's one of these issues, because I laughed when they finally revealed what he's up to. Dang, I can't find it. Did we? Green Lantern. Anyway, it's really not even that, like, there's nothing really that visual to show in addition to what I'm going to say. But essentially, Simon Baz is now just kind of just there. He's kind of just hanging out. He's kind of like he's like the third stringer. Like, he's always around, but they never really have him do anything. And he might be in like a group shot, but he's never doing anything. And it makes me laugh super hard. Come on, I know there was, like, when they meet back up with him, he's basically just like watching over Kyle Rayner, because Kyle's having like emotional spectrum control problems, and that's all he's like, yeah guys, Kyle's not doing hot. And I'm like, that's like, wow, you guys really pushed that character for nothing. Jessica Cruz also doesn't have anything to do anymore, but she's at the very least, like, they use her in like animated stuff, right? Like, they used her in that crypto show, or that crypto movie. They used her in the what do you call it, DC Teen Titans, like the superhero girl show, which I genuinely think was actually a pretty enjoyable run. But yeah, they really don't give him anything right now. Like, he has nothing to do, and it just makes me laugh. So let's see. Oh, here, we can take off my pretentious hat now, and we can put back on our Christmas cheer hat. Woo! Oh, right. Well, like, so, Sakura, that's sort of like where I get torn, because you can do darker, edgier Titans, but I do almost feel like a Titans team would be very akin to a Super Sentai team, where they're friends. There's more joy than darkness there. I mean, your leader is Nightwing. You have Wally. You have Starfire, right? Like, you have Beast Boy. Just those four alone are some of the most, like, I will look on the bright side despite my fucked up life characters of all time. So, like, I'm sick of when Titans went hyper edgy. I was just like, oh, not what we needed to do. Let's see. Yeah, which Doomsday is better or worse? I already answered that one. Definitely. Oh, wait, no. Smallville or Batman v Superman? Wasn't Smallville just Bizarro? Wasn't that what he was? Hold on. Smallville, Doomsday. Oh, no, that's right. Oh, man, I totally forgot. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to pull that picture up for us all to look at, because I forgot that that's what this dude looked like. Where's that Wikipedia page we're looking at? Death of Superman! Yeah, that was rough. I give it credit. So here's where I'm torn, Shinkai. I give it credit because at least they tried to make it accurate to the comics, and they didn't shy away from it like BVS did. They just didn't execute it very well. Like I see the vision. Doesn't work. It's too rubber masky, right? This legitimately feels like a Scooby-Doo monster over a Superman monster. Yeah, okay. Joss is correct. He only saw him making a stand, not killing Frieza. I still disagree with it, though, because that still shows him that, like, Goku lives and all of this stuff happens. So, just, it's not a big complaint, and the Bardock special still remains, like, one of my favorite Dragon Ball entries of all time. And Bardock remains one of my favorite characters. It's just less destined and less, or less chosen one, more anybody can be a hero if you put your mind to it. Hey, there he is. At least the cap flap is curved. I know for you guys. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, for those who haven't normally been on on my streams when I wear a hat, I like having mine flat, but this one came bent, so I had no choice. But yes, I cut myself off. Shalom to Hillam. What's going on, buddy? Always it is not a Friday show without having Tehillim in the house. What's going on? Glad you're hanging out with us. We are talking some various DC media, and I know you'll be that'll be right up your alley. Josh says, remember Alpha, Spider-Man's sidekick? Good time, still better than Miles. Oh, did you mean Spider-Boy? Again, Dan Slott just tries to regurgitate the same 5 ideas over and over and over again, and they never work. Volume Dealer says, everything is worse when it's Smallville. Yes. As much as I love Smallville, yes. Except for 2. There are 2 pushbacks I will give you on that, Volume Dealer. 1, Lex. I believe Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor is probably the best we will ever get, just in general as a character. There are things I like from all the other actors, but as a core whole character, definitely Michael Rosenbaum. Second, here, let me grab the image. Not Kristen Crook. Yeah, I will also. She's so gorgeous. Like I can never be mad at her. Even when she was in that like awful Chun-Li movie, I was still like, man, okay, like, fine. I'm not gonna rail on you. It's not a good movie, but dang, I'll let it go. But this Volume Dealer, the version of Booster Gold they put in Smallville, I think he's been our best one so far. Like, he's so damn good, and he's one of the, I think the only one, like in an adaptation of Booster we've seen to actually do like the advertising patches on everything. So I have a big soft spot for this version of Booster Gold, and I genuinely think it's a good one. So those are my 2 pushbacks, and then this one is just a personal one, and I'm sure Josh and Andrew know what it is. I just like seeing Impulse in that show. It was a fun scene, you know me and my speedsters, and I thought they did the little Easter egg very well, where Clark like takes his wallet and he's like, okay, so tell me what you're doing. Barry Allen, Wally West, Jay Garrick, whoever you may be. And I'm like, that's cute. I like that. So all in all, I mean, to be fair too, they were doing the best they could at the time. They had less budget than we have now. Superheroes were way more looked down upon. Like, this is a giant swing for Smallville to bring in this accurate of a booster. So you got to give him props for that. Even if it didn't always work out, I still love the show. I still appreciate it. I want to do a rewatch, and I love seeing Tom Welling come back in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Oh yeah, Green Arrow was good, Lex was good, Zod was good, Amanda Waller was good. Yeah, like it had moments to it, right? I also like Ma and Pa Ken. I think they were really good depictions, and yeah, like there's some goofy stuff, there's some really bad stuff, the whole Bizarro thing, the Doomsday stuff. Oh man, this is the one that really like hurts me. I just gotta remember the terms. Yeah, because so they eventually near the end of the series, they introduced the JSA, right? So the Justice Society. And on the JSA, they included Stargirl right here, Courtney Whitmore. Don't forget I totally am blanking on the actress's name. Hold on, I have it up. It is Britt Irvin. She played the Stargirl in Smallville. Looks great, great actress. The problem is they kind of screwed her when they put her in the suit. Let me see. Let me just get a good shot of her in the suit. Well, good shot of her in the suit. Like, they gave her the pull, and the suit itself is great, but I don't know why she has this giant half Phantom of the Opera mask. It's bizarre, and it always bugs me whenever I think about it. Because Courtney, if you guys don't know Stargirl, she, like, this is very accurate to her costume, but, like, it's not this giant chunk of sort of, like, metal in her... in like the top of her face right here. So that's what we get from Courtney in Smallville. Whoops. Then we get, so like this is what she normally looks like, and it's supposed to be like a half cowl, right? Like it cuts off right here. It's very very Kid Flash. But yeah, then instead of that, they decided they just wanted to whoops. They just wanted to like so that one always sticks out to me. But I still love Smallville. I feel like they were trying to backdoor an Impulse or like a Flash spinoff for him, Josh. I feel like that's what they were trying to do. See, that's a uniform. Everyone else was a t-shirt. Yeah, 100%. Dude, that, where is it? I can never find, let's hope the Christmas gods are looking down on me, because I can never find a 4K shot of this really easily. But... if I can this time around, we got to look at it, because this is just, it ain't great, my friends. The Justice League from Smallville shots. Let's see. Oh, man. Yes, they always give... Google, stop being asshole. Stop being a butthole. Well, this is probably going to be the biggest one I pull up, and it's still going to be very, very hard to make it out. But that's DC's fault. Yeah, the rest of them were in these, like, weird half hoodie. I mean, Green Arrow kind of put a costume on, but everybody else was just a hoodie. The Aquaman thing with, like, it's like the, what do you call it? Like the workout tank with the hoodie, like, hood. It's so bad. And then, of course, Cyborg. They didn't even make him, like, metal at all. His, like, robot arms are just, like, regular jacket sleeves. Very, very terrible. So... It's not great. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Isn't Aquaman Reacher too? I'm pretty sure that's him. I feel like Aquaman, Smallville, Reacher actor. That's, yeah, that's Alan Michael Richardson. So you have your Aquaman, you have your Hawk, and then you have your Jack Reacher. That's pretty cool. Right. Oh, no. Sakura. So Sakura says, okay, Booster Gold looks god tier, better than the Cosmic Fury suits from Power Rangers. And it's, I mean, to be fair, very low standard, but yeah, this is what you get when you care and you really want to do right by the fans. Cosmic Fury is what you do when you just want to get a new product out there and you want them to buy the new version. Condescending Josh, I don't know why I said your screen name. I know who the fuck you are. Hot take, but Donald Faison captured Booster Gold's personality to the T. He just doesn't look the part. I actually agree with this 1,000%. When they announced that he was going to be a booster, I was so torn because I'm like, this is a race swap and it's a very blatant one. But, oh man, I can see Faison as a great booster. And he was in Legends of Tomorrow. So, pardon me, maybe in like a different timeline, a different world, pardon me, where we're still in the era of like, you know, only the best actors are chosen and we're not doing all these like very performative race swaps. It could have worked. Hell, do an animated series and make him Booster Gold. I think you've got it. But yeah, it's unfortunate that it had to be part of a race swap thing. I thought Darkseid would hurt you the most since he was a rock monster. That or old General Deathstroke. So I forgot about, like, let's be honest, I did forget about Darkseid. But we can look up like the picture of him, if you will. So, gosh, it's so great seeing. Okay, this shot is awful CG, but it's got the CW logo on it, and it's sort of like wild to see because it's like they actually got better as we go into the Arrowverse. But so Darkseid's dumb. They at least got him sort of like accurate looking. The big problem I had with Bizarro was just that it was sort of lame. Like, it was just a clone of Clark who started, like, fragmenting and breaking down, and they didn't really do anything with it. And then the Doomsday one really bugged me because I mentioned it briefly when we first touched on him earlier, but for me, if you're going to do a proper Doomsday, you've got to show him actively evolving during a fight with Superman. You can't have him just be the big, bricky Doomsday we know and just be strong. Like, that's not the threat because Superman will win out over pure strength. So and then again, it's just the rubber mask of it all, man. It's just really, really, really bad. So that's why. And then old General Deathstroke was lame, but I kind of got it, right? Like that was one of those changes where I'm like, I wouldn't have done it, but it at least makes sense according to the character. You didn't assassinate him, if you will. Oh no, that was not Bart Allen. Like not at all. That was at Bart Allen. I still liked the episode. I still liked the characterization. Grant Gustin's Barry is not Barry at all, but I still like the performance. I still like the character. Oh, was he? Oh, so Timon says, yeah, that's Alan Ritchson. He was also Raphael in the Bay movies. Really? That's so funny. I didn't know. I didn't realize that. I didn't recognize that. Speaking of superheroes, did you see that Jared Leto was cast as the live-action Skeletor? Yes, we talked about that a little bit earlier. I'm not the biggest. To sum it up, I'm not the biggest He-Man fan, so I kind of don't care about the project that much. In terms of Jared Leto being Skeletor, I think it's a bad pick because you need somebody who is campy and willing to laugh at themselves to be Skeletor, and that's just not Jared Leto. He's too much of a serious, like, look at me, I'm an icon kind of guy. So, was not great. Yeah, like that was kind of cool, and it was a good, like, workaround, but some of you might know this, some of you might not. Like, I really, really, really love a good, creepy body horror monster type thing. So the idea of, like, Superman, he's punching Darkseid or Doomsday and then punches, and then all of a sudden, like, new facial armor spikes protrude out because, like, oh yeah, I can block that now. Like, that to me is more terrifying than just like, oh, my new form has this, like, ability now, right? It's not to say it was awful or like the worst solution. I just have my preferences. CG Darkseid still better than Ivan Ooze Apocalypse in that awful X-Men movie. Ugh, I don't even try to think about that movie. That movie is really, really, really bad. Let's see. So, oh wow, we were still talking about Superman. Gosh. All right, let's maybe okay. Well, again, we don't need to go through everything in the trailer. Very excited to see Crypto. Very excited to see Superman, saving people like this little girl here. There is one thing I will comment that, like, bugs me about this scene, which is that, like, the little girl kind of doesn't recognize that this is happening. Or, like, okay, maybe she doesn't recognize it's happening, but there's no, like, she's not shaking. She doesn't lose her footing. There's no, like, her hair isn't necessarily, like, whipping out yet. It feels like she's not in the scene, right? But for the rest of it, everything else is, like, fantastic. Like, that's what I want to see. But I think Nicholas Hoult is going to be a great Lex Luthor. I think he's going to be the great kind of crash-out Lex Luthor, the one who is really, really prominent, really up there, but then just always has to confront at the very end of everything, like every day, every crisis, that he is not Superman, right? Like, I can see him being, like, crybaby Lex, and it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait for that. The two other things I think we'll touch upon, because yeah, we kind of got a little sidetracked, is first off, here is oh yeah, that's another thing. Weird, Josh, that one didn't come up, but heard it here first. Pa Kent is suffering from dementia. Yeah, that's the I forgot his name already, but if you guys go and look up the Pa Kent actor, he is always playing characters who have some level of like mental issue, whether it's like dementia or developmentally disabled or just low IQ, things like that. Like those are the characters he always plays. And yeah, Josh and I were talking about this earlier this week. Like, we might be getting like a dementia Pa angle, and I'm like, I can see that because it's more like contextually relevant. I don't want to see it yet, right? Like, I still want some good Pa moments, or at least give us some good flashback moments that aren't him telling him not to save a bus full of children, right? So, Crypto, my hero, my guy. So, obviously, one of the big things everybody's talking about is our boy here, Nathan Fillion, is back, or is here, as Guy Gardner. And obviously, you guys probably know him. He's a very famous actor. Malcolm Reynolds in Firefly, Hal Jordan in Green Lantern First Flight. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I'm like missing so many other movies and better roles that he is in. I don't know why. Hey, he was Arms Fall Off Boy in the Suicide Squad. But in Superman, he will be Guy Gardner. Now, couple things to talk about with Guy. One, yes, he kind of looks dorky and he looks stupid. That's what Guy is supposed to look like. Like, Guy has never been fashion forward. He's always been a dork. He's always looked really, really stupid. Right? Whether it is his bowl cut that he started rocking in the 80s when he was on the Justice League International, or if you go and look at his original appearances, he very much has like the, like, all your hair flat down, like this is how he like goes around normally. And even here, because my hair is cut right, you can see it has like divots and everything, but his doesn't even do that. So this is, honest to God, I think it's a great depiction of Guy Gardner. My biggest disappointment, and this isn't really on the script or even on Fillion, I just personally feel like let me start that. I think Fillion has passed that point in his like age where like he looks old now, right? So like, I still think he's a phenomenal actor. I still think he's a great personality. I still think he has a lot to contribute. But when people nowadays bring him into the discussions about he should play Hal, he should play Guy, I'm like, maybe if it was like 5 years ago, I could be more behind it. Again, I still think he's going to do a great job, but it's just the vibe. The vibe should have been like 5 years ago, right? Like that would have been a better position for him. Now, this is a weird thing I caught, if I can pause it right. Guy's hair isn't buzzed here, but they did something. Right? Like they tried for something. I don't know what the hell it was, but it looks goofy. We'll see what they're aiming for in the movie. But aside from that, let's see. Aside from that, one thing I really liked is that clearly, so for those of you who haven't really been, staying appraised of what the movie's going to be about or the leaks or all that stuff, what we're looking at is a Justice League, if you will. We don't know what kind of team they are yet or what their designation is, but Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific, they are working as sort of like corporate sponsored heroes, and that's why all of their uniforms look like that, right? Like that's why their suits look kind of lame and boring and very much X-Men 2000 black leather suits, because they are Maxwell Lord like related technology. Like he's sponsoring them. You can even see on Hawkgirl's chest right there that the logo sort of makes like a JL. So that's why they all look like that. I've heard a lot of people complaining about Guy's costume in particular. There is a plot reason for it. It's all right, guys. I think we'll be okay there. But I also really love this. We know that Guy is kind of a dick and really up his own butt. But here, I love that he still has this inherent respect for Superman, where Supes is having this crisis, and you've got this crowd of people like yelling and wanting to like string him up, and Guy just is like, shut up, and he like he puts up essentially like a green mist or like a green hard light wall that blocks out the sound and most of the imagery, and I'm like, that's a good little detail. You didn't need to have a big heartfelt moment between the two, but it's just like, yeah, I'm a jerk, but respect Superman. And I'm like, cool, do more of that. Yeah, he has a very big nose. He has, and it's very much more accentuated with that haircut. Like, that haircut's not helping him, and I think that's on purpose. But yeah, you can see his schnoz is like big here. Because remember, normally I think he what do you call it? Evens out his face because his hair is up, right? Like he normally styles it up a little bit. So I think that's really killing him. But I think in terms of personality and acting, I think he'll be great. I think the meta joke of having a guy who once voiced Hal Jordan be Guy Gardner is pretty damn funny, because if you guys don't know, Hal Jordan or Guy literally started out as just Hal too. Like, his origin is almost like 1-to-1, or not 1-to-1, but very, very close, very, very coming from the same place. So all in all, very excited to see what Guy gets up to here. Hey, Duck, what's up? Merry Christmas, you Jew. Been busy with fams, haven't really been on. Wishing you better luck for next year. Oh, I need better luck in every sort of aspect of my life, whether it's work or romance or my pulls, damn it. I've been having such bad pulls out of all my booster packs lately. But Merry Christmas to you guys, Duck. This is Lily's second, right? So, or I think it's her second or her first. Either way, say hi to her and Marcy and everybody. And yeah, we'll play and we'll hang out in the new year. Don't worry. Let me think. Yeah, so Andrew's here. Nicholas Hoult is a phenomenal actor. I agree. Volume Dealer says, I'm so tired of Hoult. He's cast in so much. I can see that. I don't tend to see a lot of movies nowadays because I can, with the nature of my job, I can kind of tell from a mile away what's going to be good, what's going to be ass. So I haven't seen things like Renfield. I know he's been in like a couple other movies since then, so I haven't seen these. I'm excited. I do think he's a phenomenal actor. I've liked him ever since X-Men First Class. I think if he can really do what a good Lex needs to do is compartmentalize, right? There has to be a distinct, I am Lex on top of the world. I am the actual Man of Tomorrow. And then there has to be the side that is like insecure and gets pissy when Superman shows him up, but they can very rarely ever cross. They can't cross. It has to be like one scene where Luthor thinks he's alone, or he's like at the very end of his rope and he like freaks out or something. So as long as he can do that, I'm totally in for that. Condescending, or why do I keep doing that? Josh says Nathan Fillion is 53. Actually younger than I thought he was going to be, genuinely, and complimentary. Still a better Nathan Drake than Tom. I'm miscast in everything Holland. He would have been way more fantastic as Nathan Drake. Like, one of the biggest casting fumbles of all time. Volume Dealer says they could have done better with Guy. They could have, but I also, I think either you or Timon said this earlier on. He's a friend of James Gunn, so of course he's going to get his role. And I do have a sort of like small respect for the move, because Nathan Fillion's been trying to be like a live action Green Lantern forever, whether it was Hal, whether it was Guy. Like he wants to do it so bad. So he also just, like, I think of all the actors we have out there, if anybody deserves like a due role in a superhero project, it should probably be Nathan, considering how interconnected his career is with like geekdom and things like Firefly or Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog or voicing Hal Jordan. Like, so I'm like, you know what? Good for you. You get it, Nathan Fillion. Like, I'm happy to see you. Like, go for it. Shinkai says the amount of cameos is making me think of the Tomorrowverse Man of Tomorrow. A little bit like that. Luckily, I think they're probably going to cap it at the Justice League being the cameo. So you're, like I said, Guy, Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific, Hawk Girl, and then we know the Engineer is in this movie from The Authority. So she'll be in here somewhere, probably more working closer with Lex than the Justice League. We'll see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Volume Dealer says, remember Gunn wanted him as Wonder Man? And Gunn even, put Easter eggs to that point in the Guardians movies, right? So I was actually talking with Josh about this last night. I really do think he would have been a fantastic Wonder Man. Like, if they weren't doing the race swap and the subversion angle over there at Disney Plus, he would have been a perfect Wonder Man. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. Two more things I wanted to talk about. We'll start with the serious one, then we'll go to the less serious one. But in case you guys haven't heard, so earlier this week, before the trailer came out, Warner Brothers, Gunn, the Superman team, they held it was kind of dumb. It was like, here's a press event for the teaser trailer. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here at this point? Like, they rented out a theater in Hollywood and invited press, and it was this big exclusive thing. And I'm like, what? Stop. We don't need this. But anyway, after that screening of the trailer, they had a Q&A session with the lead cast. So Rachel Brosnahan, David Corenswet, Nicholas Hoult, and James Gunn. And during that during that Q&A session, James Gunn basically told everybody that he hit home on two things like a lot. One, which is that this shot of Superman here is supposed to represent or be a parallel to the current state of America, beat up, battered, probably not at its strongest, but still willing to get up. And that the movie is about the inherent, innate goodness of just people, right? He even says, a quote from that Q&A is James Gunn saying, I think most people, regardless of ideology, of opinions, of whatever, I think we're all trying to be good people and we're all just trying to get by. And so I think a lot of people took that statement as, oh, look, James Gunn is inserting politics. Oh, look, he's going to take a swing. And I push back against this because I actually think what Gunn said and the approach he's taking here and my theories as to how that's going to play out are really what we should sort of be aiming towards, at least right now in this cultural moment. Because first off, I don't get all the primarily conservative critics who are going, oh wow, James Gunn says Superman is beaten and he's not the best right now. What the hell is going on? You hate America. You're a commie. This is woke. You listen to me, conservatives. If anybody who's ever used that argument, your candidate just won 2 elections on the slogan, "Make America Great Again." If that doesn't imply that we're currently on the outs and not at our best, I don't know what to tell you, right? Like, simple enough. It is just a bare statement that we are not in a great place as a society, as a country. We are very divided. We're at each other's throats all the time, right? So I think that metaphor is completely on point. And what I like that he does with it is that he doesn't blame one side. He doesn't say, oh, we should just give up. But by putting that on Superman and then seeing Superman continue to fight, continue to get up, continue to just do what he needs to do, I think like that resilience will go a long way, right? In changing the current attitude in our culture. And specifically to this scene right here, a lot of people, were also complaining that, oh, look, everybody hates Superman. They're going to make him an allegory for something, yada, yada, yada. I counter that with this prediction. What I gather from this scene and from what I saw or what I've heard from Gunn, I think that what you're seeing here is everybody's getting mad at Superman because they are just scared. They're mad. They need somebody to be mad at. Which, if you have spent any time alive in the last 6 months, to 6 months to like 4, 6, 8 years, you'll know that's sort of kind of how we've been operating for a long time. People will yell at anybody over the smallest perceived slight. People will always look to blame somebody else for their own failures. So it's always about, oh, I hate them. They're ruining our lives. I don't want to, whether they realize it or not, a lot of that projection is not wanting to take responsibility for the current state of things. And sometimes it's the fact that you can't take responsibility because things are out of your hand, like the economy. So the fact here that Soups keeps walking, does not interact with them at all, just goes immediately into I'm presuming it's the Hall of Justice and, does his thing. to me, that communicates a Superman who's like, I get it. They're just people. Times are rough. Their anger has boiled over. Take it out on me, sure. I know they're not taking it like I'm not the issue, right? So, like, I think that mentality is something more of us need to remember or bring back. Is just like, everybody here, we're all trying to get by for the most part, unless, you know, there's like the 10% of weird ideologues and agitators and activists out there. Most of us are trying to get along. Most of us are trying to be good people. We're trying to do what we think is right? Like, I might disagree with conservatives or liberals on a lot of their policies. I don't think they're necessarily evil, right? I think they're trying to do what they think is best, but I can disagree and I can think, oh, maybe that's not the best path. So I think this idea of acknowledging we're beaten, we're battered, but then also trying to recognize in each other the good things and come back together, I think if it plays out like that, that's what we need, and I'm kind of super optimistic for that. So those are really my only thoughts on my main thoughts on the Superman trailer. One more thought, because it just makes me smile. I gotta find it in the trailer because it's so brief. Where is the shot of him fighting who is assumedly Ultraman? Also, I'm not gonna lie, guys. This theme sends chills up my like skin. Like, I get goosebumps. This is like great rendition of the John Williams theme. Okay, this makes me laugh so hard because, well, first off, shout out to Cleveland. They're finally getting some love because if you guys didn't know, this stadium is actually the Cleveland Guardians Stadium, right? You can actually see up in like Cueva, Silvestri. They've got all the player banners still here up at the top. So that's a cool. As a sports fan, I just think that's really cool. But two, it makes me laugh so hard because this is what I like. Myself, and I'm sure most of you out there and most of just audiences or Superman fans in general kind of complained about, right? With Man of Steel was, wow, Superman fights the Kryptonians just in the middle of the damn city. He doesn't try. He doesn't try to get him anywhere. He doesn't do the Goku, let's go fight where, you know, in some place where it's abandoned. He doesn't do that. But this Clark has directed Ultraman, who... So for those who don't know, the current rumor is that this villain is a clone of Superman made by LexCorp who is starting to degrade, and it will be the DCU version of Ultraman over Superman. So no Earth 3, things like that. But I laugh so hard because here's Superman taking the enemy into an abandoned place, doing the exact thing that the Snyderverse one couldn't do. And I'm like, yeah, very, very simple. Take him to a baseball field. Maybe you guys break out of there in 30 seconds because you're superhuman beings who can fly, but I'm at least seeing effort out of Clark there instead of just seeing him go, screw it. Let me blow up, let me throw an oil tanker at you and use it as just like a grenade. So all in all, I'm pretty optimistic on this. Again, I'll go into it cautiously because we know how Gunn can be, but I'll give credit where credit is due. The trailer's got me in. The music too, man. Like, I just can't get over them. The theme is so good. Just the do 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 on like guitar. So Duck brings us up. Henry Cavill lost Superman role and Witcher role. White power isn't so strong with that one, huh? Well, thankfully now he's going over to Warhammer. But all in all, I think the final thing to put on this is that while David Corenswet might not be as a good of a visual Superman as Henry Cavill, and I love Henry Cavill, I'm liking the fact that it looks we're gonna get an actual like comic booky Superman, and that's what we need more of nowadays. That flying kiss, nitpick time again, but that's bad wire work and it looks bad. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this shot. It doesn't look great, but I at least like that they're highlighting the relationship. Again, we don't get a lot of superheroes who are in good, healthy relationships, like in Ultimate Spider-Man or in Superman and Lois. So if we can get more of that on screen, I'm all for it. Uh, Reeves says it's either people jumping the gun or Snyderites complaining about this. We need context first. Oh, 1,000% we need context. And yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. It's a lot of jumping to conclusions. It's a lot of people who are just mad that it's not Zack Snyder. You guys know me. It's all about intellectual honesty. All I've said are my reads of what I think is going to happen. If you have a different read, hey, I'm open to hearing it. But all in all, I'm going to wait and see what happens with this movie. I have hopes for it, but I'm not going to put any bets down. You know what I mean? Let's see. It's not the Meteors though. Or at least I don't think they name what team it is in that shot. Crypto! Oh no. Oh yeah, Meteors. So it is the Meteors instead of the they like change it sometimes. I think at one point it actually was the Metropolis Guardians, but I think because it's the Cleveland Guardians, they probably mixed that up. But yeah, if only. Well, first, Duck says, how much did the makeup department work on that Superman's bang? Oh, to do the little like spit curl? Oh, of course. I'm sure they spent hours in the chair trying to get that perfectly right. So, oh man, what was I gonna say? I wish I could be excited about going to movies, but I literally haven't had a good movie going experience since Detective Pikachu. Right? Every time I go to a theater, people are on their fucking phones. They're talking. They're texting. They just won't shut up even when I like talk to them or yell at them. I hate going to the movie theaters. People suck. It's that that toxic individualism I was talking about last week. So hopefully a good cam rip of this drops like the day of, and I'll buy a ticket and just not go. I don't know. We'll see. But I am in to watch that. Oh hey, you're a Guardians fan. They're not bad this year. I mean, they're not the greatest as always, but let's see. Sonic 3 might be better. Dude, I've been hearing nothing but good things about Sonic 3. I want to see that movie so bad, but I know that the next few days I have to buckle down and do like Christmas stuff and end of year work stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know when I'll see it, but I want to see it so bad. From Andrew to Steven to Nolan Thunder, just everybody is like, this movie is the best movie. Go see the movie. So I want to go fast. I want to go fast, damn it. I want to go fast. But yeah, that's Superman. Let's see sort of what happens. Either way, guys, we got crypto. We got crypto. I'm an official crypto bro. Where is he? There's my crypto. I'm a crypto bro. This one can actually go to the moon. Fantastic pun that I am stealing from our Discord server. And that's all I've got for Superman right now. So, with that discussion of Superman, where are we? We've got probably about 30 more minutes for the show. What do we want to talk about? What did I even say we were going to talk about? I know I want to talk about that awful TVA book, but I'm wondering if I should touch upon, I mean, I kind of already did touch upon it, right, guys? There is that, you know what, just because, why, if I'm going to even mention it, we'll just freaking bring it up, because I'm stupid. I am stupid. So I will obviously be writing an article about this later as soon as we are done here, and I have grabbed some food. That dog looks like it just wants to hang out and have fun. That's a good dog. I was trying to look at my other screen and see if I still had it up, but it's not. It is not like the Cujo dog. That is the Crypto dog. But as I mentioned earlier, a giant... no, do I have to go to the archive for this? No, okay. A Bloomberg today from Cecilia D'Anastasio and Takashi Mochizuki, they dropped a giant investigative look into the current state of the Western anime and industry, which, if you guys don't know, it is currently almost in a near monopoly. We have Funimation, who's owned by Sony, who recently bought Crunchyroll. They're one entity. Then we have, various smaller ones like Sentai Filmworks and High Dive. And then in terms of distribution, we have pretty much every platform is vying for something to advertise out there, whether it's Netflix, Hulu, Prime, as you can see here, or Crunchyroll. What this article, we're not going to sit here and read all of the article because that's going to take too long, and honestly, TVA is going to be more fun to laugh about. But essentially what this article reveals is that Crunchyroll is in the pits right now. They have a higher than 8.5% user turnover rate, which is the amount of users that leave their service. That's awful. And I know and that number is confirmed because they want to bring it down to 8.5, right? So it's probably somewhere in the 10, 11 range if we're being really dire right now. As you can see, there's also this quote here. Nobody, there's growth in casual anime fans, but not core fans. So a lot of companies are, like if a viewer goes like, I'll watch an anime, they're not going to go, odds are 80% good. They're not going to go and what's an anime streaming service? They're going to go, I'm going to go on the streaming service. Is there anime on there? Cool. I'll watch it there. So that's why Crunchyroll isn't working. Where is the, oh man. Yeah, there's the 8.5 churn rate, but here's where things get wilder, right? So one of the big issues that Crunchyroll is running into is that Sony, who now owns them, doesn't know what they're doing, according to employees, right? To the point where one of the things they highlight is how Crunchyroll thought that, and Sony thought that they were going to roll in the dough with mobile games. But that didn't work. There was no support for them. Almost all of them have shut down. There's one of the notes in this article that made me almost like pee my pants laughing is that their only surviving show game right now is the One Punch Man mobile game. However, I love this because although Crunchyroll invested a large sum developing its One Punch Man world game, the U.S. license for the show was snagged by Hulu. And as a result, the game hasn't received an update in months. Like, that's so embarrassing. I cannot believe that actually went out, right? And here's probably two of the more insane things that are going on behind the scenes. One is that the guy in charge of marketing Crunchyroll and Funimation and all that stuff, everybody says he doesn't know what he's doing. He has a background in, what was it? Yeah, he was hired by Funimation after marketing several popular Netflix shows, like Unorthodox, but had little experience with anime. 7 current and former employees said Girdman isn't experienced enough for the role, overseeing changes in strategy that cost the company money. So one of the things they bring up is that at Comic-Con this year, Funimation hosted a live orchestral concert of One Piece music, and they were supposed to have the Sunny Go, like the life-size Sunny Go, sail behind the concert venue in the San Diego Bay. It was cool. I actually saw the ship. I didn't see the concert, but I saw the ship docked. It was pretty cool. The concert happened at night. They didn't light up the show. So, you could see it back there, but it wasn't special. So, Toei and Toho got really mad about that. And so then, in turn, because they're having, acquisition battles and licensing battles, this stupid asshole, Girdman, right here, emailed the team at Crunchyroll and told them not to promote Dandadan, right? We decided not to further lean into the promotion of Dandadan. That is a fucking bizarre, insane move, because not only is that the anime of the season, but now I didn't even know it was on Crunchyroll. I genuinely thought it was a Netflix exclusive, because that's the only place I ever hear anybody talking about where to find it. Oh man, hey, take it easy, Duck. Love you too, my brother. Oh wow, Florida, stay safe. Don't catch any Zika virus. I don't even know what's going on down there right now. But have fun. Who's from there? That's you're not from Florida. Anyway, have a good flight. I'll talk to you soon, my friend. I'm sure I will. Whoops. So basically, because they're in this Crunchyroll guy, Gerdeman is in the spat with Toho. He's shooting himself in the foot. He's saying okay, fine, I won't promote Crunchyroll as a home for Dandadan. Screw you. But it's okay, but you need them to license things out to you, because if you don't get the license for that, you don't have a business. So it's clearly being mismanaged over there. But the bigger thing I really wanted to highlight is that Sony very, very much is looking to censor everything, right? Like they are trying to censor figures, posters, video games, all of that stuff. There are two specific quotes I want to highlight on this end because let's see. Because it's just like, wow, this is a disaster for you. Well, first off, here's this. Some executives write off anime as kids' cartoons, they said, and resist hiring job candidates who describe themselves as fans. Right? Like, this is just that, what I was talking about, where they don't take this seriously and then they treat it like it's garbage. And it's condescending and it's just, it makes me mad because it's like, who the fuck do you think you are? Then go away. We don't want you here. We don't want you. And you don't want us. So go away. But where was this? I know where the second one is because it's like burned into my brain. But subscribers, that's all boring. Well, I know I have at least this one because this is amazing. So in the apparently Crunchyroll and Sony thought that the way to recover from their drop in subscribers and their absolutely disastrous mobile game attempts was to offer merchandise, right? So that's why they bought, if you guys remember earlier this year, they bought Right Stuff. Oh no, I guess it was in 2022. Time flies. But Sony and Crunchyroll, they bought Right Stuff, took over, and they were going to use that to, integrate it into the site. Oh, did you like watching My Hero Academia? Well, here's a link at the bottom. Come buy it from our store. However, this is what's hilarious. The business has shrunk since the acquisition, according to 3 former employees. Among the reasons, Sony asked Crunchyroll to pull the racier adult manga and toys that formed about 5% of Right Stuff's revenue. Right? Oh, okay, never mind. What I wanted is after that, actually. So, not only did they do that, but so Right Stuff, we all knew that they're imploding right now, and it's clearly because Sony said, "Oh no booba, please. I don't want to see that." And then this is great. Japanese manga publishers such as Shokugan, Shueisha, and Kodansha are also unhappy with how Crunchyroll manages merchandise rights. The company often makes and sells merchandise or collectibles, such as figures and posters, in ways that the publishers don't approve, according to both Crunchyroll employees and staffers. Like, it's just an insanely... It's Schadenfreude, right? Like, I am laughing myself to the bank seeing them spiral by doing all the things we've been calling them out for. Anime fans don't want censorship. People in general don't want censorship. Don't tell me what I can and can't buy when it's completely within like legal grounds. And you're suffering for it. And I don't feel bad. And again, I'm really like, I already don't like the fact that Sony owns Crunchyroll because I think that it's just encroaching a monopoly on that industry. So yeah, this is probably going to hurt some employees, but overall, any kick to the corporate pants, I'm already in for. Timon says, "Whoa, why is it so small?" Anyway, Western streaming services are a shit place for anime. By the time they announce something good, the anime is either finished or the fans already watched the latest episodes online 4 seasons ago, or the anime got canceled. It's too slow. So, yes and no, because in recent years, credit where credit is due. Places like Hulu and Disney Plus and Crunchyroll, especially, they've really upped their simulcast game. So you can watch the dubbed episode or the subbed episode of Daima for example, right when the Japanese get the availability for it, like at 9 a.m. Japanese Standard Time. However, in terms of the dubs, yeah, you're completely right. For example, saying on the Daima event, the Daima dub doesn't start until the 10th of next month. That's still more than 2 weeks away. And we are already on, I believe this week is episode 11. So I actually think it's a good thing to do simulcasts that only focus on the subs, because I think that'll expose more people to the source material and naturally erode the aversion to engaging with it in Japanese, because people will be like, oh, I want to watch it now. Okay. Oh, well, now I'm used to it. So, pardon me. Just overall, I'm not against a Western streaming platform per se. I just want one run by people who know and understand what they're doing and don't just look at this as another entry in like an overall portfolio, right? And so I just wanted to highlight that. I think the fact that this article confirms that Sony is out here trying to censor stuff and control things, I think that's just cherry's kiss on top, and that'll probably be the headline to whatever coverage I write on it when I get to it later tonight. So, yeah, that's all I really have on this anime story. Obviously, I will be following it however it develops. Check out boundingintocomics.com every day for whatever I have going on with that. But aside from that, yeah, Dragon Ball doesn't count. It's one of the big four. Any other normal anime has this treatment. Not necessarily, because I do know that when Nerdigans covers things like me and Robobico, that gets a simulcast. Like that gets a simulcast. Precure currently gets a simulcast. Let's see. I'm just on Bounding right now looking it up, because I only know this because I have to edit so many of Nerdigans' stories, and they get, and I see the words. So like Ranger Reject anime got a simulcast, which is pretty crazy. The Yoko Taro helped create this anime called Kamarabi God app, and that got a simulcast actually in Arabic, which was pretty interesting. So Solo Leveling also got a simulcast. So they're increasing. Obviously, it's not perfect yet. Not everything gets a simulcast. But, you know, again, credit where credit is due. The efforts are ramping up. So, again, if I just have a site run by somebody who goes like, I like anime, so what? Instead of somebody who goes, anime is for babbies, screw you, you're all virgins. Let's see. Reeve says simuldubs are like 3 weeks behind the subs nowadays. Daima is most likely an exception because of the rights, and the One Piece dub is also very behind, probably because of Toei. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not denying that. Maybe my words are being misconstrued because I'm using so many similar sounding ones. But I'm saying the simulcast for subs is a very, very common thing nowadays, right? Like that is a lot of animes are getting subtitled simulcast, which means all you have to do is take the Japanese audio, translate it, throw it on, and you're good. And that's what I was sort of pointing out. English, when it comes to dubs, that's a problem because they are really, really, really far behind. And it's not even, you know, yeah, there's like 3 weeks or a month difference or whatever, but that's not just these big series. That's pretty much everything. If it's going to get a dub, it's going to take a while. So that's a whole other industry problem that they need to fix. But for now, we really need to, across every industry, really just kick out the people who look at whatever it is, video games, movies, books, as, you know, either stepping stones or childish or not serious, because they're just going to drag everything down. And it's not going to help any of us. All right. Speaking of being dragged down and nothing helping any of us, we get to, here we are, final topic of the show. This is something I've really wanted to bring up ever since I read it a couple days ago. And to be clear, I only read this because I needed to see how much of a disaster it was going to be. And my friends, it's more of a disaster than I could have imagined. So, in a special comic book discussion that you won't have on Foil Variant, because Andrew, for good reason, is not going to check out this book, let's talk about Marvel's latest series, the Time Variance Authority, the TVA. Oh my god, do you guys remember Loki? Loki was a thing. Did you watch Loki? Do you remember the MCU? So, this is not the first time I've talked about this book. We've talked about this before. When it was announced in the solicits a couple months back, I highlighted it here on this stream because I'm still pretty upset that this TVA idea is essentially replacing in Marvel canon the concept of the Exiles, which, for those of you who don't know, the Exiles were a team of heroes who they became dislodged from their timelines in their respective universes and were turned into sort of multiversal repairmen. Think Quantum Leap almost, right? Like they would always be thrown into a universe and they would be given a mission like, here's how the timeline's supposed to play out. Something went wrong. Can you fix that for us? Right? Like, oh, Spider-Man and MJ are supposed to be together. They're not. Can you go find out what's going on and try and get them to reconcile? Things like that. And in doing so, we got to see a lot of cool multiversal variants of Marvel characters, which this was back in the day before we kind of got oversaturated. So it was like, oh, wow, cool. That's a female Spider-Man, and it's Mary Jane instead of Peter. What's the story there? And they would tell you. And if it wasn't like a new world, they would actually revisit actually established timelines and stuff. Like they eventually recruited Spider-Man 2099, and not a variant, like the 2099 Spider-Man and Princess Zarda from the Squadron Supreme. Things like that. So it was a very, very good book. It let the authors and the readers sort of play around with things, see different angles, have really good character work, give love to some characters that might not have normally been highlighted. I mean, Mimic is one of the main leaders of that team, and where even is Mimic right now is a normal Mimic. Where is he? Nobody knows. So I've always been mad. You guys know me. First, the decision to replace the Exiles with the TVA made me mad for two primary reasons. One, Exiles, one of my favorite runs of Marvel, of comic books of all time. When it comes to multiverse stuff, that is the run, the book I will always go, that's what you'll want to look at. Two, you guys know how I hate my MCU, or not even MCU, but my live action comic book synergy, right? And not even comic book, but I hate when something gets a movie or an adaptation and then they try to reverse engineer that all into the comics or into the video games or whatever. Rarely, if ever, does it work. So obviously, before we dive into this, I just kind of want to walk everybody back and bring you on the journey I was going on, right? So we got this announcement, TVA. I went, God, okay, whatever. You're using another MCU thing. You're going to bring it in. We got this cover. On this cover, we see basically the three main TVA characters we see in the show, which is Owen Wilson's Mobius, Renslayer, and I forget what Short Round, Ke Huy Quan's character is, but we have him there as well. Then, so, that's fine, whatever. If you're doing a TVA book, that's who you're going to have in there. But then, I had a bad reaction to the fact that I look at who is sort of on the team. You have Spider-Gwen, you have Sylvie, you have Captain Carter, and you have a Gambit. And I talked about this on one of these streams. I might have even told it to Andrew. But, just from the jump, you see who they chose, and you're like, oh, you were really trying to milk that MCU stuff. Sylvie, not a character in the comics, but now you're making her one. Captain Carter exists in one continuity, but not that important. Oh, that Gambit? Gee, I wonder why you made... That one's an original variant, but I wonder why you chose Gambit. Could it have been because of Deadpool and Wolverine? So, I already came into this thinking, wow, MCU synergy. It's just going to pop off. They're going to bring in, But I kind of approached this as, this is the 616 introducing their version of the TVA and all of these characters, which still lame, but at least it worked within comic continuity. Oh yeah. Oh no, it is discount Gambit. It is Gambit. It's a Gambit whose rogue is dead, and that's all we know. So he gave up on life. It's not that interesting. So what I was saying, right? I thought this was the 616 bringing in their own version of all this. Not really. So I really don't know how else to approach this, but yep, don't need to go to the eye doctor yet. You're still good, Timon. This book is actually fucking MCU canon. I am not joking. We have officially breached that wall. Because this Gwen is R616, or not R616, but the Earth 93, wherever she's from. She's the comic book Gwen. She makes that very clear. But all of the characters keep referencing, like, hey, Miss Minutes, you went crazy and tried to kill us. And, oh, yeah, B-15 got a promotion. And then, so then we get this. So I see this introduction of Captain Carter, and, there's Kihei Kwan. We get the stupid Gambit, whatever. But eventually, did I pass it already? Yeah. There is this shot right here you can see it in the bottom panel, I'll bring it up, where Gwen is going out and she's exploring the TVA, and right here. For all anyone here knows, I don't have a place on the timeline anymore. But OB and I know the truth. I'm hiding here, and since I don't do lie low very well, we figured I might as well be useful. And it's all because of that guy, Loki, or a version of him. Anyway, he has a whole story here. I don't have the page count to go into it all. But he saved this place, and no one has seen him since. This is literally comic book Gwen crossing into the MCU. I genuinely don't know specifically what I want to say, but this makes me so immutably angry that this is actually how you're crossing over. First of all, never should have happened. It's happened like once or twice. There was an Infinity comic, a Spider-Verse one, where Tom Holland's Spider-Man shows up for a second, and I believe Tom Holland's Spider-Man is in the background of one of the big Spider-Verse splash pages. But we've never had direct, like, I am from the comics, I'm coming over here connections. And yet, that is what we get in this damn book. And what really, really sets me off about this is, like, we get it. You want to push Captain Carter. You want to push Sylvie. But nobody fucking cares. Nobody cares. Even Marvel stans are tired of Peggy being highlighted as, like, the bestest one ever. And that's what really gets me here, is that these aren't the comic book versions. These are the MCU versions. So they're going to have to automatically supersede any plot, right? Like, they're going to get mad plot armor because they have to keep existing. We already know Captain Carter is coming back for Avengers Doomsday. So it's just... And then I think at the bottom of it all, it just feels exceptionally fucking lazy. Like, I don't know. It's so... I was reading through this book and just baffled at every page turn where I was like, oh my God, you really are throwing out everything and you're really doing an MCU crossover. Cool. And it's this stupid ass book. Like, this is what you're going to do. It is genuinely baffling. I don't have... Nothing about this book feels like you want to tell a story. It just feels like, hey, here are the characters we want to promote. Because it's Spider-Gwen, it's Captain Carter, it's Sylvie. Characters who... Gwen probably has the biggest fan base, but not really that, like, important. Or what am I trying to say? Gwen's got a fan base, but she's not this... Or she's got a fan base, but we clearly know Marvel wants to push her as, like, a big icon. Like, she's going to be in everything. I'm surprised she's not in Marvel Rivals yet. So... that is basically the one main thing I wanted to highlight. I can't do it, guys. I can't. The MCU is terrible. The comics are getting a little bit better. I mean, that's why we run foil variant. And then you do this crap. All this feels like is like, do you remember the MCU? Come love the MCU. And I will probably formulate my thoughts more over the coming week, but right now I'm just, like, so baffled and upset and just like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? To me, the fact that they are crossing over with the MCU officially means they're out of cards. Or rather, that the MCU is crossing over with the comic books officially, you're out of cards. That means you guys know you're desperate. You guys know you need to push something. I don't know why. Maybe someday an interview will come out and say this is why we did a TVA series, but my God, it's just pathetic. I think is really the best term for it. It's just pathetic. So let's see. Sakura says Spider-Gwen was a mistake. I disagree with that. I like the original idea of Spider-Gwen because to me, alternate universes should always stem from a event going different, not just a random like, what if this was this? And so Gwen getting bit by the spider, and because she agreed to go with Peter, and that's like the one universe she would ever agree to go. I think it worked. If you kept her on her own separate Earth, that would have been fine. But it's the fact that they keep bringing her in to promote her as like a face. That's where it kind of gets boring because they're putting the cart before the horse, and they're going, look, love this character. This character is great. And then people go, okay, why should I love this character? Then they go, she can shoot energy blasts from her hands, right? Yeah, that's why you should love her. And it's just like, no, just stop throwing things at the wall. And then, yeah, so like even with Volume Dealer, right, he says all the women characters in the past 15 years get erased in my Marvel reboot. No more Gwenpool, Miss Marvel, Squirrel Girl. Well, first of all, Squirrel Girl's still going to exist because she's way more than 15 years. She's from like the 80s, right? Like she's a very established classic character. And see, I disagree with this. There are very rarely genuinely bad ideas. Like there are Gwenpool stories I enjoy. There are Miss Marvel stories I enjoy. There are Squirrel Girl stories I enjoy. So like the characters have things to offer. The problem is just trying to poochie them, right? Like from The Simpsons, trying to force us to love these characters instead of just putting them somewhere and going, if you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. It doesn't feel like, I'm being respected as a customer, as a fan. It just feels like you're looking at me as a drone. And the fact that I don't like these characters yet is something you need to resolve and you need to fix. And it's just so tired. The one thing I haven't mentioned, because I don't know if Andrew's still in here, but I know he'll get a kick out of it. So if he's listening in the background, I hope you laugh. But the one thing that gets me for this book is that we actually have Jimmy Hudson back again. If you guys caught Foil Variant, I have this weird thing with Jimmy Hudson because he was such a big thing for a while out of the Ultimate books. Like, oh, look, it's Logan's son. It's Wolverine's son. This is the new Ultimate status quo. And then when they did Secret Wars and they cut off that Ultimate universe and killed it, Jimmy was just gone. And so I have this weird thing where, like, I laugh really fucking hard anytime he pops up because I'm like, look, you remembered. So like he popped up at the end of the Krakoa War when Jean Grey was like, I am all the X-Men, and there was that awesome splash page where like the giant energy phoenix was made out of energy copies of all the mutants. Then he popped up in the Venom War Deadpool miniseries, and now he's here. So I don't know. I got a weird affinity for the guy. He's not a great character. I don't even particularly like him that much. There's just something about him being like, hey, you're there. Somebody remembered you. That's nice. That's a nice little thing. So, I'll probably put my words together more as time goes on. Hopefully by a foil variant, because it doesn't seem like Andrew's here. I'll bring it back up on that show, and we'll talk about it, and I'll have more to say. But this is just marketing synergy at its worst. Whoa, why did that happen? This is just marketing synergy at its worst, and it's embarrassing. It's pretty much all I can stand. Like, that's where I end. It's embarrassing. But with that, we have gone a little bit over our normal runtime. So, given the fact that we ran over a little bit and the fact that we started late, it's probably a good time for us to call it for tonight, for us to get out of here, to say goodbye to our pre-Christmas show. That's right, guys. The next time I see you, we'll all have experienced Christmas. We'll all have woken up to, depending on where you are, either snow or roiling heat like it is over here in Arizona and California. So wherever you are, whatever you celebrate, whether that be Jewish, that's what I was gonna say. Whether it's Hanukkah, whether it's Kwanzaa, or whether it's a good old-fashioned Christmas, have a good one. Hang out with your family and friends. As always, more than ever, right? Remember that not everything is terrible. There are great things out here. At the very least, we have this show. We have Friday nights where we can all come together and we can all laugh at things. We can all make fun of things. We can all share our opinions and have good discussions. I'm truly thankful for it. I'm truly thankful for all of you guys who watch every single week, whether it's live or whether it is in the VOD. I see all of you guys from Shinkai to Tehillim to Timon to Volume Dealer to Sakura to, who else am I going to forget here? Duck, Andrew, Corey, Reeve, and Zero, of course. I don't think I forgot anybody. I'm going to say Shinkai again because I feel like I always forget Shinkai. But you guys make this possible. You make me excited every Friday morning to wake up and prepare fun things for you to look at, talk about, all that fun stuff. So Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa maybe for all two of you who celebrate it out there. Remember, the world is not as awful as it always is, and you'll always have a place here to remind you of that for the positivity. So go out there, go have fun this weekend, this coming week. You know, keep your spirits up. It's a nice little it's the most wonderful time of the year, as they say. Of course, we will be back next week, same Mav time, same Mav channel, for another episode of The Good, The Mav, The Ugly, the official last show of the year. Maybe we'll do a whole like a review thing, or maybe we'll just talk. Who knows? God, Timon, I really hope that Santa gives me a hanging mic for Christmas. That's really what we need right now. But yeah, guys, next week, come hang out with us. We'll still be here. Next, go check out Foil Variant. We didn't have an episode this week, but Andrew and I will be back in the saddle on Thursday, or on next Wednesday, or next Thursday. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Check out boundingintocomics.com every day for new news, where we're putting stuff up. And yeah, just have yourselves a Merry Christmas, and I will talk to you all soon. Oh, if you want to hang out with us more, Discord link is down below. Expires in a few hours. We'll always put up another one. But yeah, you guys all know the drill. Like, follow, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Now, go have a happy holidays. Go have a Merry Christmas. And I will talk to you all very soon. Love ya.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Ho, 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 ho!
サンタクロースなんて
Merry Christmas!